Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad.
I wrote a song for you.
You did?
Yeah,
A song for me?
well, we were watching Love is Blind,
Yeah.
and I was inspired
Oh my
by
God.
these two guys on there that were just so artistic and free and just like free to express themselves through the art of song.
Okay.
And I just, there was this guy, Kwame, he had an amazing song called Real Thing.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I just felt like I wanted to sing you like just a short, like my version of it, just
my
to express
God.
to you. Because I saw Chelsea's reaction.
It was visceral.
It was visceral.
Visceral.
It was erotic.
It was
It
erotic?
was real. There was moaning. There was all sorts of sick, dope stuff that happened. So I just wanted to kind of see what transpired with this vibe, all right? So
Okay, quick question. You know how I feel about being serenaded, right?
yeah, it's your favorite thing.
Yeah, it's my most favorite thing.
And it doesn't give you the ick at all.
No, not at all. Go ahead.
So I learned his chords, and they're like these ones,
Okay.
right? And his chorus was, I just want the real thing. I just want the real... But mine is a little different. I hope that you can enjoy this.
Okay.
I just want to sleep in. I just want to sleep in. I just want to sleep in, girl. I just want to sleep in. And this is like, I want to sleep in, so you should take the child. I want to play Zelda forever like a child. I want to take you on the ride of your life. And by that I mean I'll golf every weekend. You know, girl, when we get in the bed, I'll pee all over you and make you lose your head, girl. I'll guard your heart and make it so nice. With me, girl, your life's a paradise. I just wanna sleep in. I just wanna sleep in, girl. I just wanna sleep in. You're welcome, everybody. Just wanted to. Thanks for coming out. Anyway, I didn't hear any moaning.
Well, I mean, I got to be honest with you. You sleeping in, not necessarily what
I didn't
would
hear
turn
any
me
moaning
quite on.
or any like.
Already being serenaded is a stretch my body.
Yeah.
I am shaking right now, but not
Yeah.
for erotic reasons.
Okay.
It makes me feel quite uncomfortable.
So rage. You're like, first of all, you're not sleeping in. You're getting up with him right now. Hello, everyone.
That was
Welcome.
beautiful.
Thank you so
Welcome
much.
home,
Thank you
family.
for coming out.
Obviously, we're clearly going to be recapping Love is Blind here,
Yes.
baby. Episodes
Yes.
1 through 3 today. Wow. What a show.
This show, it should just be called The Ick.
It
Like,
should
it's
just
so-
be called The Ick.
It's so appropriate that we've been talking about the ick previous to this show, because I do feel like it's just a beautiful transition into what the ick is like on the highest level.
It's the IRL ick. Like, I literally could not believe what I was watching. There's maybe 2 couples that I'm like, you know what? Well,
Yeah.
Tiffany and Brett, I'm
Yeah.
a stan. We
Yes.
ride for Tiffany and
Yep.
Brett. But other than that, I'm like, there's so much it going on. I could barely, it was hard for us to actually watch
Yeah.
the episodes together and take notes because I wanted to hide the entire time.
I was just like, where are these people in real life? Like, I gotta meet people like this.
I want to meet them all. I want to have a big old party after the series wraps. I want to have a big party, invite everyone onto the podcast at once. Just to pick up the energy of what's being...
I want to call it the ick. I want to have them hang out and call it the ick off.
That's the thing. There are numerous people on the show that I do really like, that I vibe with. But
well, no, just because
there
they're ick doesn't mean I don't like them.
That's
the
kind of the
thing. I'm
thing.
not saying that like because they do ick shit that I don't like them because of it. It's just, dude, y'all are on
wild.
Olympic level ick.
But you know what we talked about after we watched it of what I would be like on the show? I am convinced that if I was on Love is Blind, that I would be, and Evan,
You
by
might
the
be a
way,
little icky yourself.
affirmed this, which was so rude, that I would be.
By the way, this was this was an anniversary dinner.
Yeah, at the anniversary
Beautiful dinner
he let
at
me know.
a very cool restaurant.
Took me to a gorgeous restaurant. And then when I said, you know what, I think I would probably be one of the cringier characters on Love is Blind if I was on there. And Evan said, probably can confirm that. And I'm like, how romantic.
Because, listen, I think on camera, under the pressure of reality TV, she might turn it up. And I think they could capture some ick moments. Since these people are in a pod for hours together, I think at some point the nerves and the adrenaline would hit you and you'd do some ick
My
stuff.
adrenaline would be so through the roof in a room alone,
Yeah.
like with cameras on me. I'd be feeling the need to perform and really like give it my all for the
Yes.
people. I'm like, people are watching this. I want to like
Yes.
give them a show. And without anyone there next to me to regulate me, that's the thing. Like on The Bachelor, I feel like I could handle it. I'm like with a bunch of these women. We're becoming really good friends. There's like a good vibe. But I'm alone in a pod. No one's there to regulate my drama. Through the roof.
Through the roof.
Through the roof. I'd be the cringiest person on the show. So I don't blame the people for being cringy on this show, even though some of it is like the serenading.
It's a lot of...
Why so much serenading?
The serenading was... First one was bad. Or was it... Which one was the acapella? Who was first? Was Kwame first?
Kwame was first with the real thing, which
He was. They were close to
It
each
was
other.
rough, but Zach's went to a whole different.
He was a worse singer than Kwame and did it with no music. So there wasn't even anything to possibly tie you down on like a note or any sort of musicality.
And I can't lie, like some of Kwame's lyrics we were getting in there, I was like, okay, like we're flowing a little bit. The pitch is funky, but we're flowing.
Right.
Zach's lyrics, it was just like there's not even like rhyming going on.
No.
It's just a
No music.
Blarney Stone.
What's a Blarney Stone?
It's like I think over in Scotland or Ireland, it's like
Blarney
the
Stone
touchstone.
sounds like a Zelda thing. Like side quest, capture the Blarney Stone. You know what I mean? Shrine quest. Release the Blarney Stone and get a seed.
This is unbelievable. Okay, hold on. Before we we got an announcement. We're gonna dive right in
we'll get
pretty
into
soon
this.
to
We'll
this
get
Love
into
is Blind because there's just so much to cover. But we do have to do a little housekeeping before.
Yes, of course.
But before we dive in, and thank you for that serenade, by the way.
I mean,
you
no moaning.
surprised me. I just
I
walked
didn't
in and I
hear
saw the
Lee-
guitar and I was like, okay.
I didn't hear Lee or Jess moan. So
No, it was fantastic.
Yeah. Okay.
I heard a little moan from Lee. I can't
Yeah,
lie to you.
I did hear a little bit of a release.
Totally subconscious.
Yeah. Lee's like, that's for me.
I'm literally still shaking from
From the
cringe.
ick?
Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I
just
love
wanna
you, but I can't.
sleep in, girl.
Can't do it. Okay, hold on. Let's take a quick pause.
All right.
Listen, family. Spring is here, baby, which means it's time for some fashion switch ups and risks. I love getting playful with fashion in the spring, and I think I want to hop on this whole ballet core trend. This is hot right now, this ballet core. I can't dance, but I do want to try the ballet
I love
core.
that.
And you know, the only ballet flats that I'll be wearing are Rothy's. Oh my God, I love Rothy's flats. Everything they have, honestly, is so cute. It's so versatile. And when I say wildly comfortable, that is no exaggeration.
It's actually unreal how comfortable their shoes are. No break-in period. They have many different styles, and they are constantly releasing new colors and patterns. And everything at Rothy's is sustainably made with their signature thread spun from single-use plastic bottles. Over 146 million and counting. These shoes are made to last. All styles are machine washable, so they keep looking great all year long.
One of my favorite things about Rothy's, the second my shoes get a little dirty or drab, I throw my Rothy's right into the washing machine, and boom, they come out looking brand new, and they are durable, so durable. The pairs I've had for years still look amazing, and they feel like I just got them. Oh, and by the way, they also have great tote bags. So cute. For stylish and comfortable shoes, shop Rothy's. Get $20 off your first purchase at rothys.com/momdad. That's rothys.com/momdad. Okay, so we are going to be diving into Love is Blind.
Yes.
Like I said, we're doing episodes 1 through 3, and the plan is that we're going to just keep doing 3 episodes at once, unless there's like a one that's just, there's too much info.
Then we'll go through.
Then we might, slow it down.
Yeah.
But for right now, we're gonna dive into this, and I think we'll go couple by couple too.
Yeah, that's
because
the
there's
best
just
way.
so
It's
much
not like
to
The
cover.
Batch where it's like it's more chronological.
Yeah, so we'll go over the couples, the triangles, all
the
of
triangles,
this.
yes.
And we have to do reality TV because I already missed The Bachelor. So
Yes.
it's time to, even though Love is Blind is way spicier, let's be
It's
honest.
so spicy. Wow.
It's way spicier.
It's just it's an ick, like goblet of spicy ick.
When we ended episode 3, we had to watch the first 5 minutes of episode 4. Like, we couldn't stop ourselves. We had
It was
to
an epic
see
cliffhanger.
We couldn't do the cliffhanger. So what we are attempting to do for everyone who is tuning in is that we are attempting to just watch those 3 episodes that we're going to cover and not go any farther than that. So what that means is that probably a lot of you are way ahead.
Yeah.
And so when we're talking about people that we might love or we might not like, well, guess what? We haven't seen all the episodes yet.
It might change.
It might change drastically, but we're going to try to just not see any spoilers or anything like that and just give you our reactions over those specific episodes that we're covering.
And if you are ahead, hopefully this is fun to listen to because it's like you're getting to listen to people who are behind you, and then you know something we don't know.
And you're like, you idiots! How dare you?
And
hate
if you're
them.
with us, stay with us so we can be on the journey together.
And please try not to send us any spoilers.
No spoilers.
Because I'm really trying my best.
Although
over
we
here.
did, like you said, we did watch the first 5 minutes of the 4th episode just so we could see the culmination of
reveal.
that final reveal.
We
So,
had to see the reveal.
Apologies in advance if you haven't seen that, but we have to talk about that as well.
I don't know if I can not talk about it.
It's such a legendary moment.
It's so out of control. But before
we have an announcement.
Yes, before we dive into the recapping, we
Yes.
do have an announcement,
Big
which
announcement.
I'm very
Yeah, we're
excited
stoked.
about. So, officially starting next week, we will be doing a second episode of the podcast every other week.
So it'll be the 2nd and 4th week of each month.
Well, we're going to be doing a second episode, and those episodes will drop on Friday. So we'll still have our Wednesday episode that, at least for right now, we're going to be covering Love is Blind and then get into more reality TV.
Yeah.
Those will be our Wednesday episodes. And then every other week, second and fourth week, we'll be doing an episode Friday. And those episodes are going to be a little more, have some fun people on to interview them, do a lot more like call home type segments and answering any sort of questions.
Different topics, different ideas. Obviously, if something goes off in reality TV or Batch Nation or something like that that's like needs to be addressed, we'll talk about it.
Of course.
But
they're going to be a little more free
it'll
flowing.
be the more freestyle.
And I know a lot of people
open.
were asking, like, they want us to have conversations about more like relationship stuff, more woo, like all that.
Also, and guys, here's the thing too. Some of you are like, wow, these episodes can get long. Like we're in the 2 hour. Like that's us cutting it down. Like that's us trying not to go long. So we have so much to talk about and so many ideas and things that we needed to have another episode because we're just always like trying not to make a 5 hour episode.
So we're starting with every other week,
yes,
second episode.
we're starting with every other week and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So
I'm excited.
I'm so excited.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary to you.
We celebrated our anniversary. Well, last episode, we said it was our anniversary this week, but we celebrated it last night. Just because you know how life is in a kid. Like when you have, Lee, listen to me. When you have a child, all the traditional, like your birthday is celebrated on your birthday, your anniversary is celebrated on your anniversary, all that's gone.
It's
like
a little
you'll
more
push it
tough.
a month sometimes.
Yeah.
Like you'll just be like, how's like February of next year to celebrate this year's birthday? Does that sound good? You're like, you just like whatever works between work and kiddo.
And you understand each other. You're like, guess what? You're busy. I'm busy. We got
You
the
just
kiddo.
like what day works.
Yeah, you just try to figure it out.
Last night I took her to kind of like a fancy restaurant.
So
you know, it's like a
fancy.
special restaurant.
So fancy.
And she was killing me because like we get in there and like they have this truffle pasta. You know what I mean? And it's like, and it said the name of the truffle on, you know, the thing. And like we don't belong when like we do stuff like this. You know, we don't belong in the fancy restaurants when we're like, she's like Googling how much that truffle is if you want to buy it by the pound. You know, and we're just like, whoa, that truffle. You know what I mean? You're like, we're looking around being like, whoa, look at these rich people. What do they do? We're like, we'll take the salad. Thank you. 2 waters and a salad. Thank you.
I after I Googled the truffle and saw how much it cost, that it was like 20 minutes of me going off about like, can you believe how much this could possibly cost? You know?
It's insane. But it was just like, you know, when you just don't belong, you know what I mean? It's like, it was like if you just like stumbled into the yacht club and you're like, hey, what are you guys doing in here? And they're like, this is members only. And you're like, sorry.
Like, whoops.
Do you guys rent surfboards here? But we had a nice time.
It was so nice.
It was a beautiful time.
It was so nice.
And I feel like we've been slacking a little bit in the celebration. You know what I mean? So it was nice to kind of pick up. We've been kind of like, you know, like
Yeah, we've been playing loose. We've been letting time go when it should be, when we should be enjoying times together.
We made it a priority, and we had a beautiful.
We need to get more on top of date nights. We've definitely left that slack.
Yeah,
like I think Zelda's what's taken over.
That's true.
Because it has become a couple thing.
It has. You know what? And I will say it's a beautiful thing. I never thought that my love for Zelda would bring us together, but it really has. You're welcome. And I'll play Zelda. She'll just watch me, and she'll ask me now, "Can you play Zelda?"
I love it. Like, so relaxing.
I mean, you know how many of you gamer guys would love someone like this? You understand? I believe me, as a new gamer, I understand what kind of how lucky I am to have someone who just wants to watch me play Zelda. So
relaxing.
It's truly a match made in heaven, and I'm grateful for you.
What I wouldn't want to watch is you serenade me on a regular basis.
Oh my god, dude, I can't. There was like multiple times during this episode where I was just like. Like I was sweating and like I was just like wheezing.
No, Evan like straight up looked at me and said, I don't know if I can recap this show because he was having such a hard time pushing through the cringe moments. You were struggling.
It was like horror movies, like, when you have the covers pulled and you're kind of like looking through the cracks in your eyes and you're kind of looking, you're like, please don't pop out. Please don't pop out. That's how it was with some of these interactions.
Yes.
It was very brutal.
But no, we did have an absolutely lovely anniversary. And here's the truth of the matter, everyone who's listening. Evan and I are in a weird mood today. So hop on board for the ride before the recap. We're in a weird, you and I both are so out of it, but like in a loopy way.
Yeah. Well, because today.
It's a lack of sleep.
Yeah, it was a lack of sleep.
It's been a pretty crazy week and we haven't been sleeping and it's just been a lot. And so I feel like we're kind of getting like cabin fever, losing our minds, no sleep.
It's insane, okay? It's absolutely insane. But we're alive. We're thriving. It's pretty good.
That is good.
Right?
Yeah. It is.
It's like when you're smiling through the pain, everything's fine. Hi. Woo!
I feel like I'm just astral projecting right now, and all I can picture is the pods and Love Is Blind.
Are we just getting into this?
Let's just dive right in. It's time to dive into
Welcome,
Love
everyone.
Is Blind episodes 1 through 3.
I always think about the fact of the people that are on the show that didn't get like picked as like the feature couples and the feature people. Like I'm thinking these people are there for weeks and they're like pursuing relationships and they've had like deep conversations and spent 12 hours talking, boom, boom, boom. And then like you've gone through this whole process and then, you bring your family together months later to sit down and watch this episode. You're so excited. You got a watching party and then you're not even shown. Or like you're shown lifting weights once or something like that. And then you're just like, wait, they cut my entire marriage out of this thing?
I got married. I had children.
You're like, I did this for like possible acting gigs. And now my wife is sitting next to me who I don't even love. And they don't even show us. Now I got to get a divorce. It's going to cost me a fortune. And we're not even on the fucking show. Could you imagine? We moved in together. I spent my life savings on a house because they shot it. They wanted the arc of us to buy a house together. I now own a house. I have debt up to my eyeballs. I'm living with someone I can't stand. And they didn't even show me. Like, could you imagine? They made me buy stock in the company. Okay. We've had 2 kids. I never wanted children. Now I have 14 kids.
They made me take over Nick and Vanessa's role as hosts. My new wife and I were there 24-hour days, constantly being interviewed, talking to all the other couples. They cut out all of this. They replaced us with Nick and Vanessa.
They're not paying me. They said it would be a great resume builder. Now I'm up to my eyeballs in debt. Oops. And everyone, I want to freak out. Like there's people on that show who went weeks.
Evan, I could not believe half of the cast we saw maybe 2 seconds of their faces. Like, and even I believe some of the cast, we never even saw them at all. And when I say half, I mean half. I was just looking through the cast list before we started and I'm like, I don't know. Absolutely do not know half of these people. Don't recognize them at all.
Yeah.
And it's not to me, it would be way gnarlier, that gut punch, than being on The Bachelor. Because when you're on The Bachelor, you're there, and again, you're like interacting with people all the time, and you're making friends. And there's also this idea of like, maybe I could get on Bachelor in Paradise. So you're shooting your shot in those ways, but you're also getting sent home via roses every couple days. So then you're like, okay, if it's not going well, I'm getting sent home. Love is Blind. Those people are for 2 weeks, 24/7 in those pods, having to talk to people for hours and hours and hours on end, forming relationships, starting love triangles, so much drama, one camera on you all the time. So you're convinced my story is going to be part of it, and you get nothing.
Not only nothing, like literally you don't even exist and you can't even prove you were there. You know what I mean?
You're just at family dinners like, I swear to God, I was on the show, and nobody believes you. They're like, no, you weren't.
3 months convincing your boss that, like, believe me, I'm taking this time off. I'm going to be on this big show.
It's going to be great for our company because, people are going to then be like finding out about our business, our startup together.
And then you go on and you're not there, and then they fire you because they think you're lying to them.
Like, you're a goddamn
They're
liar.
like, you clearly just went to Cabo because you're not even on the show. And he's like, I promise, I was there.
No, I will say I do not believe that. Maybe I'm wrong, so please, people, fact check me on this. But I don't believe anyone who gets engaged isn't shown. Like, I believe all the couples that get engaged are then shown.
I prefer to think that they purchase
100%.
houses, they're married, and they have 2 children, and it's all not shown, and that they did it just for the.
They're the couples who actually end up working out and lasting for all time.
Yeah, they picked the recklessness ones, but yes, that was the first thing that stood out to me was just like, holy shit, there's a lot of people that are not being shown on this show. And the second thing is, I just want to say, I can't remember the last time I saw a show that had people in their 30s on it.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Finally
we get some regular people. You know what I mean? Everyone else is just, models and 23. You know what I mean? Where is the regular guy? The regular 35-year-old? He's on this show. You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
I'm loving it. You know what I mean?
And let's make something very clear.
Yeah.
I feel like, often on The Bachelor, they're casting everybody in their early 20s because I don't know why they do this. Clearly, there's plenty of drama with people in their 30s. Us 30-year-olds are wild. Let us be seen on television, okay? We got nothing to lose. We're in our 30s. We're like, we're actually trying to marry someone. Yeah. So I will declare my deep, deep love to this person in this pod. I will do it.
Yes.
Watch me.
It is crazy it is just conceptually as we dive into this show as it's like just discussing the concept of it is like, we talk a lot about The Bachelor and how could these people fall in love with these people so quickly? It's only been 3-4 weeks, blah, 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 blah. But, and then in this show, we're seeing like 6, 7, 8 days in, they're saying, I love you. Mm-hmm. But they spend so much more time than The Bachelor people do with each other. Mm-hmm. So by the time like hometowns are coming in The Bachelor world, it's been less than 5 hours sometimes, maybe 10 hours total.
Oh yeah, that
they've spent together versus these people have spent like 3 or 4 hours a day together consecutively.
Potentially more.
So it's like
you're diving deep into like intense.
There's
questions.
no physical. There's no sitting there talking to producers for 3 hours, like in the same way that you're not flying around. You're in the same place all day. So it's a much more of a cabin fever element. So your brain is a lot more. There's no, you're just a lot more focused in.
Yeah.
On
you're
the
looking
process.
at a glowy wall the entire time.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, now every time they see a glowy wall, they're turned on. They're just like, oh my God, a fucking wall.
Yeah.
You've never been more hot for a wall in your life.
Dude, and you're also stripped of the physical and visual. So then you're kind of transported back to like pilgrim time. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because you're just like back in the days when you just follow me. I'm making this up on the spot, but follow me. You're kind of like you're taken back to the time when you couldn't just date in New York. A date in the city.
Well, there's no swiping. Sure, there's
there's
like
also
endless...
you weren't able to date. You would just like say hi to each other every once in a while, and that was the most erotic thing you got to do is just like wave at each other across the farm.
It's true.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's kind of reducing you back to like this very basic element of the only thing you have is conversation, and you can't even look at each other. So then, like, all the normal stuff you're used to stacking people up against is stripped away.
How do you think you'd do in a pod?
I am a bad faker.
Yeah, you are really bad.
I'm a bad faker.
If Evan is not vibing, like it is clear as day. What you see is what you get.
What you see is what you get from me. So if I'm being nice to you and we're having a vibe, it means I like you. If not, I'll just end up like leaving very quickly. So the pod
You're
for
just
me,
running out of all the pods. You're just sitting silently in every conversation. They're pulling a Brett where they're like, hello, hello,
Right.
hello, and you're just sitting there.
yeah. So if
Playing beer pong by yourself.
Exactly. So if I was on the show, what I would do is I would go in there and I would start chatting to these people, and I would know very quickly if we're vibing.
Okay.
And then I would just say, I feel sick, I gotta throw up.
They're like, it's crazy. This Evan guy's always
He's
sick.
vomiting constantly.
They're letting him stay. They're letting him stay here.
He
Like, shouldn't he
clearly
be
has, like,
quarantined? He's got a massive virus.
He has a digestive problem.
Yeah.
So I would say I have to vomit. I'm like, I do not feel good. I gotta go. And then then I had a producer come in and be like, yeah, Evan's been vomiting bad. He's really, really sick. And then go to the next date and do that until I found the one. And then sit. And then once I found the one, I would kill it. I'd be there for 8 hours talking.
Yeah.
How about you? I think you'd kill it.
I think, well, like I said, in this situation, I would be cringe TV central. Like, I think I would be good on the show because people would probably really hate watching me because it would be so over the top of like my declarations of love and just like how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And I'd be like crying in the pod, be like up
my
against the wall,
gosh.
melting against the wall, just so drama once I'm in the pod. I think the second I'd leave the pod, I'd be like, hey girls, like
Right.
I'd snap out of it. I think I would do well, but I think that I would make an absolute fool of myself on television
I think
because I can push through a rough conversation.
no, you are incredible.
I can push through a tough
at it.
combo.
I can't tell you how many times me and you have been together talking to someone, and I thought I got to get out of here immediately. And then I look over and it's been an hour, and Jess is still talking to them, and I know it's brutal, but she just pushes through being nice. And I was like, "Oh, it's great. What's that?" And then I'm gone, just because I know what'll happen. You'll see it on my face that I'm dying inside.
Yeah, you can't hide it.
Can't hide it.
You can't hide it. You can't hide it. But the thing about the pods is that you can't hide it because they can't see you.
But then you'll end up just being like, "Totally, yeah."
They would just think you
I
have
don't
kind of
know.
like a grovelly,
Yeah.
like sexy voice vibe to you.
Yeah. I'm like, well, he's so mysterious. He
He's so
doesn't even
mysterious.
say anything. He doesn't even answer my questions. Well, he's so. You know what's crazy? I love that he like doesn't listen to me.
You know what's wild is you probably with that strategy you'd probably get a handful of people who'd be like, "Oh my
gotta
god,
figure him out.
There's something about him so mysterious, so hot, such a bad boy. He doesn't even
I was
answer
like,
my
I don't
question."
know. Maybe. What? Were you talking to me? Honestly, it probably would work for
It
some
would work.
people.
I think it would work. I really do.
I think it would work on Micah. I think she'd like that. I was just like, yeah, I don't care.
Oh, on Micah, yeah,
She's
probably.
like, I don't care. Maybe. Are we done? All of a sudden, boom. They're just like,
Engaged.
I don't know what is he, like a rock star? Is he who is this danger man? I think it'd work.
It's a decent strategy.
It's not a bad strategy.
Not a bad strategy at all. Not a bad strategy at all. Okay. So should we get into the couples?
Let's get into the couples.
So let's talk Chelsea and Kwame first.
Yes.
After your real thing Serenade. And we'll hop into a little bit of the love triangle
Yeah.
vibes and with Micah. And we'll
Okay.
weave our way that way through the relationships and the triangles of it all. So first we see Chelsea and Kwame.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, the second I saw them in the pod together, I was like, these two are perfect together. Like I felt it in my bones.
Yes.
I'm like, I am getting both of them want to be motivational speakers. I'm getting like pastor and his wife who lead a church together energy. I'm like, these two they love watching like fitness shit together. I felt like it was the immediate correct fit.
They are, I mean, not to bring back a Zack impersonation, but that kind of like thing I was doing, they are the essence of like, they buy the seats at the Tony Robbins conventions.
Yes, 100%.
They go to the like executive membership, gold, level business conferences. They're the people, when you're like walking on a vacation and you see people with lanyards that just say like alpha business executive like course, and they're all staying at like a Holiday Inn because they're all going to like the event center. They 100% are like, I wake up every morning and I do an ice bath.
Yes.
And I have my incantations of positivity that I repeat to myself. And like, even what she said, he's like, what's up, Chelsea? How are you? And she's like, I'm doing good. He's like, so what makes you tick? It was just that kind of thing. And she's like, giving to others, growing, thriving, increasing my bandwidth. That is what makes me tick.
They are inspirational quotes.
Oh my God. Like they are
inspirational quotes.
Yes.
Like 1,000%. They meet at a conference.
They met at a
motivational conference to live bigger and better.
I walked up to you, Chelsea, and I thought to myself, Tony Robbins was saying earlier, do you want to sit back and let life happen to you? Or do you want to grab life by the cranium and split it open and eat the brains of your life? But it is literally that crazy. Like, I feel like that was like a funny like joke, but like they weren't far from that.
No, well, later on in the reveal, she was just like, I want to smell him. I want to feel him. I want to be in him. I want to be part of him. I want to be around him.
And then the sexual stuff when they're talking in the pod about what they want to do to each other sexually.
I mean, the level. So the whole thing starts and I'm going, these two, their energy of like inspirational quote, motivation, ice bath vibes is so on the same plane. They want to savor every second of life.
Yes.
There's that. And then it got the level of heat in that pod was every time he'd say something, she'd be like, yeah. I'm like,
no.
Oh my gosh.
You're 100% right. He'd be like,
oh my God, this is getting way too spicy so quickly.
When I get in there, we're not going to have sex. We're going to make love. And we're not just going to make love. I'm going to make love to your soul. And then she's just like, and it's just like,
and that's when she says, I want to have that is exactly what I want. I want to have a spiritual connection with my husband's body.
Oh my.
And I'm like,
God.
These two need to get married right now. It was so blatant to me. And also like, his energy, even though the Serenade, cringe and a half, the way that like the declarations of love are made, cringe and a half, it's rough. But I feel like I would be so over the top like this and trying to like weave a sonnet together. But he seems like the nicest guy. And honestly, then the way that I felt, and we'll get into it, but the way then that he handled Micah's breakup, even though then he went back in his the male pod and was having a rough time and crying and like kind of coming for Paul, which I did not mind. He was very gracious with Micah. You know what I mean? Totally. I felt like he's just a positive, good guy who just wants to enjoy life.
Right.
But the thing about Kwame too is that when we hear him talking to Micah later, he really wants affirmation of his love. Yes. He wants affirmation like constantly from his partner, and he wasn't getting that with Micah, and that might have been a little bit of a tease for him, but he is getting that with Chelsea. Chelsea, another person that seems like a really wonderful woman, but she is very direct with him. She is letting him know, you are everything I could ever need, want, and desire. My body is pulsating for you. I'm going to let you know you are like the only one that I am here for. She's thrown in those moans every once in a while. And so it seems so clear to me where I'm like, Kwame, why are you interested in Micah? You've got your wife in front of you.
Yeah, but that's...
Now, I don't know once I saw the reveal how Kwame and Chelsea are going to go. But in the pods, I was like, this is wife.
Well, he hits me as someone who is extremely sensitive and has spent a long time listening to podcasts and motivational speeches to be... I'm going to charm you. I'm going to say the perfect things. I'm going to write the song. We aren't just going to have sex. I'm going to, make you my temple that I am going to go into and, bury my remains in. And we will be, a sarcophagus of love. Like, it's just so over the top. But like deep down, he's just a sweet, sensitive guy that wants to be loved.
Yeah.
And so he can get kind of chewed up and spit out by the wrong person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So it's like the fact that he's susceptible to the Micah situation just showed that he came in, he's like, how come you don't love me as much as Chelsea does? You know, like that was the real him. It was just a sweetheart that's like under the, and Micah's like, knows how to really play some games. And so,
yeah, she does.
He didn't stand a chance, with that.
And then, but Chelsea remained ever
Yeah,
faithful.
and Chelsea was just solid.
Oh my God.
Rock
okay.
solid.
Let's get into it. We have to take
Yeah.
a quick pause. Okay. Quick pause. Family, listen. Let me tell you something. If I was in one of those pods and wasn't feeling anyone, you know what I'd turn on. And that would be Dipsy. Because wow, if you're in the mood to get in the mood, I will tell you what, the Dipsy app is full of short, sexy stories, and it is the way to go. Transport your mind to a world where you can relax and treat yourself to your deepest desires with Dipsy.
Dipsy's sexy audio stories bring scenarios to life with immersive soundscapes and realistic characters. And they have got all sorts of stories and scenarios, everything from second chance romances, adventurous vacation flings, and hot and heavy hookups.
Yes, absolutely. They are hot and heavy. You'll even hear some celebs you might know on some of these stories, and they are very inclusive. And guess what? New content is released every week. So in between listening to your favorite stories again and again, you can always find something new to explore. Oh, and also they have sleep stories, wellness sessions, and sexy stories you can read. Let Dipsy be your go-to place to spice up your me time, explore your fantasies, relax and unwind, or heat things up with a partner.
Wow. For listeners of the show, Dipsy is offering an extended 30-day free trial when you go to dipsystories.com/momdad. That's 30 days of full access for free when you go to DIPSEA stories.com/momdad. dipsystories.com/momdad.
So here's the truth. When I am having a busy day and rushing around, I feel like I can end up settling with what I'm eating. I just throw whatever snack is left in the cabinet in my mouth, and I'm not happy about it because it's not delicious or satisfying. But I don't have to worry about that when Daily Harvest is around. Daily Harvest keeps me well fed with easy to prep options, so I never have to settle. And by the way, when it is in our house, there better be a lot of it because we're all arguing over who gets it. Evan is a thief and eats it all most of the time.
No question, not denying it. Daily Harvest delivers delicious smoothies, flatbreads, soups, harvest bowls, bites, and more built on organic fruits and vegetables, all right to our door. With nourishing options for any time of day, Daily Harvest keeps our freezer stocked with good food that's always ready when we are. And the best part, no shopping, chopping, or heavy lifting ever. And now that we are talking Daily Harvest, all I can think about is eating one of their sweet potato and wild rice hash harvest bowls. They're unreal.
Yes, those are
So good.
so good. Honestly, I could eat their mint and cacao smoothies 24 hours a day.
Yes.
They're so delicious. Here's the thing. By working directly with farmers, Daily Harvest can source the best ingredients, freeze them at peak ripeness to lock in flavor and nutrients, and they never use artificial preservatives or ingredients. And by supporting farmers who invest in practices that increase biodiversity and improve the health of our soil, and by delivering food in recyclable and compostable packaging where possible, Daily Harvest does the work, so all I have to do is eat and enjoy.
Stop settling with your next meal and try Daily Harvest. Go to dailyharvest.com/momdad to get up to $65 off your first box. That's dailyharvest.com/momdad for up to $65 off your first box. dailyharvest.com/momdad.
Okay, but yes, Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
Chelsea is a woman who is going to stand by your side and work through the tough stuff.
Yes.
Because she's clearly so over the top vibing with Kwame.
Yeah.
And then when she finds out about what went down with Micah and how he was gonna then be all in with Micah, and then Micah shut him down ultimately, when Kwame and Chelsea had that conversation,
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, the way that she processed that was so healthy and understanding.
Yeah.
Communicated with Kwame, this is how I'm feeling, and this is how I'm feeling rejection and hurt, but I do really care about you, and we're going to have to now kind of make this a slow burn.
Man,
Because that would be so hard.
I struggled with that. I
Yeah.
thought to myself, we were talking about this a little bit, where it's okay, imagine you see two people.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't really know anything about them, but you see one and you go, physically, my type all day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And you start hanging out with them, and then the one who is your type rejects you physically, or even personality wise, but just says, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
And then you kind of by default give the other one a chance, realize, holy shit, I didn't give you a chance because physically we aren't initially the most connected, but now I'm seeing who you are and it blows my mind.
Right.
Now we're married and everything's great. This is much gnarlier because it's saying,
I know.
It's saying he's saying I chose someone else on a soul level. Like I chose their personality and who they are over you without even seeing you. So now when he comes back to her, there's no, like I was thinking in my head, there's nothing you could say to me that would make me go back with you. Because I'm going, you chose someone else on the cellular level. Not even on the surface level, not even on like a judgment level of just I saw you from across the room and that person's more my type than you, whatever. I wanted the other person on the you level.
Totally.
So for her to even be open to like being okay with this blew me away. And for him to actually even try, like I wouldn't even try if I had rejected someone based on their whole soul. And then I wouldn't even try to come back and just be like, hey, by the way, so how you been? Yeah, it just didn't really work out. As in, she rejected me entirely, but I would have.
I was supposed to propose to her.
But I would have gotten rid of you in a heartbeat for her. But then she
early
rejected
proposed,
me.
yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I was willing to. Yeah, you're right. I was willing to early propose to her. Mm-hmm. She rejected me. So, how are you doing? And then she wasn't like, never talked to me again. She obviously ended up meeting him. So. And then in addition to that, if you know the show, you know that you're all going to be in a room together hanging out. So you know that Kwame, the guy that you like that rejected you on the soul level, is going to be hanging out with his true love in a day.
That's what I'm feeling very nervous about with these upcoming episodes is when they all are together in person.
There's no question. If he finds Micah very attractive, there is such a good chance, and I'm apologies to anyone who's ahead of us, there's no chance he doesn't see Micah and have a feeling again.
I know. I'm feeling very nervous about that. But just from for me watching as a viewer, I admired the way that Chelsea handled everything so much.
It was so next level.
I'd be out.
Those Tony Robbins conferences are paying off
because I would be out. Because clearly she's like, this guy is worth it enough to me that I'm going to communicate with him how I feel, and I'm not going to be like immediately like, oh my God, yes, no worries, but communicate, hey, slow burn, let's keep talking, and understanding that sometimes you get caught up. Because I think clearly what happened, I believe, maybe I'm wrong, but I believe with the Kwame and Micah situation and with the Zack and Irina situation, that these are two men who ended up choosing two women who were making comments that are kind of like, I don't know, but do you really like me? And kind of teasing and playing the game and putting that bait out. And these guys just took it and got so like, oh my God, they're just more mysterious and they're harder to get and there's more drama. And I'm just like, well, therapy is what's needed for these men in the process of why we're choosing this person over this person, likely. Because again, clearly it's not physical, it's just emotional. And you're hearing the Micahs and the Irinas playing games the whole time.
It also shows to me with the show that like your strengths and weaknesses, which is like some people are really good in this setting. Mm-hmm. Some people might need to see you and see your eyes to talk to you and kind of know how to be. Certain people don't need that and are like, it's like people who are amazing over the phone or people who are really good like dating over text.
Yes.
Like on Tinder or something and they know exactly how to talk to someone or they're bad at it, but they would be in person good. Clearly, people like Micah are really good at knowing what these guys like and will pull them in it and make them feel like my general feeling about the whole thing was that they're amazing at creating scarcity. They're amazing at making them feel like if I don't make a choice right now, I will lose this person.
Yes. Also, I felt like Micah felt very casual in the pod.
Yes.
Like it was
Not
very
desperate.
like kind of joking around, more loose than getting really serious quickly. But I just, from the Chelsea perspective, it's like, okay, this woman's clearly very into Kwame. And instead of having a full mental breakdown on the women's side, because if I was Chelsea and I saw Micah with that smirk walking around, joking about shit with Irina, I'd be like raging about it. And she had this moment where she even sat with Micah and Irina and was kind of like, you know what? Sometimes people can be mean, and they're upset about things that are going on in their own life. And I was like, you tell them, queen.
That was the
Tell 'em,
therapy
queen.
moment there. She was like, I've done lots of therapy and I know this is how this can work out, which is like, if you were making fun of people, basically you're insecure kind of concept.
Yeah, and she handled it so well. I was very impressed.
She wasn't rattled.
No.
And it was like, you saw that thing of like, some people are not meant for this like competition level thing. Chelsea can handle it. Chelsea was solid. She was able to kind of recover, not take it too personally, be willing to be open. She seems to be the person that, I don't know, she seems strong, but also just very willing to be open to the process.
Yes, and I want her to find love.
Yeah.
So ultimately, Kwame with an original song.
I want the world.
My favorite thing about it was at first he was like, when he sat there and he's like, let's write a song together. I don't know. Let's call it a real thing.
And he taps the guitar.
Like he's thinking, and then he hasn't written this entire song before, and then all of a sudden he starts playing. I'm like, the man's he's got chords and he's got
Lyrics. He has a whole
and
verse.
chorus, and he keeps looking down at something.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't think we're writing a song together, my guy. I think you wrote the song beforehand, which God bless, even though I hate a serenade, but writing a song together. But she loved every second of it. She reached climax while it was happening.
She's like, Kwame, don't stop. I mean, he's just like, I want the real thing. He's like, yes. It was like crazy, dude.
So it was just
no, listen, I'll be honest with you. If that's what it takes out in these streets right now, is all I got to do is sing a song out of tune. Like, babe, be nervous. If all I got to do is barely sing in tune, fumble on the guitar, one of the corniest songs of all time, then it's like, dude, the world's my oyster. I don't think that's the case, but I'm just saying, if it was, my God, I would be a god.
Well, she lived for it. She absolutely lived for it. And that ended up leading to the next day, which was the proposal, where he compares her to how he's wearing tan khakis today instead of his typical black jeans. And
Yes.
he was giving her all the words. And
what's crazy is I usually wear black jeans, but today I couldn't find them, so I put on khakis, and I thought to myself, sometimes the world gives you something different that you're not ready for. Man, I look good in these khakis. Anyway, will you marry me?
it was very much like a pastor analogy.
It totally was.
When I was putting my pants on this morning, what I was thinking about was, wow, it's very similar to how you're like this pair of pants. Yes. And our relationship has been like this pair of pants.
And the music's going behind you.
And she's like, yes, yes. And they get engaged. And
Yes.
I believe that Chelsea knows this man.
Yes.
Like, I feel like she's throwing out facts about him. Like, she knows this man through and through. Now, this is what I'm nervous about. So I'm watching this the whole time going, this is husband and wife.
Sure.
They're meant to be together. And I can't believe, I'm like, Kwame, no, not Micah. This is your person.
Yes.
Reveal day happened.
Yes.
Now, at first they run up to each other. They seem both very thrilled with how the other person looks. They're making out. Chelsea was overcome by her desire for Kwame, and it was very Randy. It was intense. I felt like I shouldn't be watching it. I felt like it was a very personal moment.
It was just hella horny, dude. She was horned up. Listen,
They sat together and her hands were everywhere.
she was breathing him in.
Well, she said, I just want to smell him. And she was all over his neck. And I'm nervous now a little bit because at first Kwame seemed down. And then all of a sudden I felt like I saw a shift in him where it was like, this might be a little more than I expected,
Yes.
this intense energy.
Yes.
And then it was a little bit like, are you going to stand up and propose to me? Like, who's the one who's in power now? And I'm like, is this going to be Kwame's thing? Maybe he'll be like, hell yeah, I've got my woman and we are going to be rolling in the sheets 24/7 together. But I felt like his energy shifted.
It's interesting. I feel like Chelsea is I don't know, refreshingly uninhibited.
Oh, 100%.
In the way that she's just like, I'm not gonna play games. I'm not gonna hide my feelings. I'm not gonna create a level of tension.
No, she's just
I'm just giving in fully, not realizing that there's a thing called the game, and that people are out there like used to playing the game, his brain, what I think is going to happen, is he's going to go, when certain people shouldn't be given everything right away, and he's going to get this, I got this in the bag, so it's not exciting anymore.
Okay.
It might be a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Because what did Micah give him? The excitement, the fear of losing her, I got to win her over. He didn't really have to win Chelsea. It's like right away they were vibing and then it was over. Then he had her locked.
Yeah.
So he'll be I think he's going to be attracted to the mystery.
Yes, I agree with you, and I feel nervous because I feel that exact same way about Chelsea. I feel like it's so refreshing. I'm living for the fact that she's like, I got to know this man. I put in the effort and the work, and we went through the tough times, and now I am ready to get this thing goddamn going, and I love it, and I live for it. I'm nervous, though, because I'm seeing an energy on him that feels a little like deer in the headlights vibe. So she was alive
She was ready to go. She was breathing him in. Literally breathing him. She eyes were rolling back in her head, like sucking in his neck. There's like... and he's like, totally. Like, it was funny because I thought he would be over the top, and then she one-upped him big time.
I know.
Anyway.
So we'll see. So I'm feeling a little nervous about that. Okay, but before then, obviously, they had their proposal, and they officially got engaged and are traveling on their way to Mexico. Kwame was talking to Micah.
Yeah.
Micah.
Wow.
Well, I think we all are aware of how Micah has interacted on this show.
Yes.
Not the kindest person in the world, that's for sure. The Micah and Irina combo was
a rough one.
Really rough to watch as a viewer. I'm like, I love drama. I didn't want to see it anymore. I'm like, this is actually getting me like really, really mad as a viewer.
And if you got bullied at all in your life, Trigger City.
Oh, 1,000%.
You know what I mean?
It's like those two, Micah and Irina, met up and they had this duo. And the fact that it wasn't even just about the women that they were quote unquote in competition with. Yeah. There was a moment where Irina was on the couch with Jackelina, who's not interested in any of the guys that they're interested in. And Irina was like, quote unquote, comforting Jackelina as Jackelina was like seriously sobbing. And Micah walks in and they both start giggling about how like ridiculous it is. Yeah. And it was just, it was horrific to watch.
It feels almost like they are from a movie.
It didn't. It was very much like a movie. It didn't feel like it was real. I'm like, is this a bit that's going on?
It's too mean to be real.
It's too mean. It's too mean.
Because you got Micah, who's like the leader of their friendship, and who's a mean girl. Mm-hmm. But Irina is someone who clearly has her whole life been wanted to be accepted by the mean girl. So she goes above and beyond.
More over the top.
Way more over the top than Micah does in order to make Micah like her and bring her in on like, we're friends, right? But it's brutal to watch, and it's so tough to watch that even Micah has moments of, you could tell, being turned off from Irina, being like, damn, that was kind of gnarly. Like, there was a couple moments when like, Micah even was
with
just like...
Amber, when Amber came in crying.
When Micah was like, oh, is she okay? That seemed sad. And then Irina was like, ha ha ha, idiot. And I was like, oh my God, Irina. Like, you're going too heavy. Like, you don't have to be accepted by Micah. It's okay. Because it's like, even Micah, when Bliss was having a conversation and crying about the fact that was it Amber or Bliss that just got broken up with? Amber had just got broken up with. So Micah had just found out that Paul, the guy she's with, broke up with Amber, and she wanted to see what Amber was saying. So then Irina goes over to like put her head against the wall, and you literally hear Amber bawling her eyes out.
Oh my God.
Sad about the fact that someone that she loves just broke her heart. And Irina is laughing. Like, it's one thing to like spy on someone and be like gossiping, but it's another to be like laughing at people's sadness.
Oh, it was like really mean. Truly mean. Like, it wasn't like, oh, here's bachelor drama and you don't really know what's going on, so maybe there's certain things. I don't think this could have been edited in a way. I don't know. I don't believe that this was edited to make them look mean. I think that we were seeing what we were getting in that situation. And I'm actually very nervous because obviously Micah and Irina both got engaged, and so now they're all heading to Mexico, and I'm nervous about the two of them together with everyone else. Oof. I feel like it's going to be really rough. I felt like they needed to be separated. Yeah. Because I think...
This was school, they should be separated.
They should be separated.
Yeah, it's interesting because like just a little bit of the murmurings online is like there was a lot of like Micah's mean, Micah's brutal, well, which is there are brutal elements to Micah for sure, but Irina to me is the final boss of mean compared
100%.
to Micah.
100%.
Micah might be the architect of the mean vibes, but Irina is like. She is like the loyal, trusted right-hand person that does all the dirty work, and it's like really bad.
Yes.
If I was, it was bad.
It's like if you have in all the movies where you have the villain and the sidekick.
In the sidekicks,
it's like the sidekick's meaner than the villain in this situation.
Yes. The initial mean vibes were Micah, and then Irina really came out and said, "Oh, you thought she's the champion? I'm going to show you some mean moves." It was really mean.
Yeah, like I said,
it's just the laughter.
That was not. I really enjoyed these 3 episodes. I did not enjoy that drama at all. Yeah. That was really triggering and really upsetting. I felt very much back in high school, and I could literally pick. I knew exactly who those 2 girls were, and I won't say their names. But I was like,
their names are. And if they have an Instagram,
here's their
them.
handle. But that was very much what it was like watching.
100%.
I'm like, are we all seriously in our later 20s and 30s and this is going on right now?
It was very 12, 13, 14. You can't sit with us.
They're definitely in the type of vibe where I was watching it and going, I wonder how many coworkers are back at home watching this. And they're like, yep, they're getting exposed.
This is what it's like working next to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anywho, so Micah is then talking to Kwame at first, and Kwame is like, we see him later saying to some of the men, I walked in, started talking to her. That was my soulmate.
Wow.
Like, we have this deep connection. I'll be honest with you, between Kwame and Paul, when Micah was going back and forth, I wasn't sure at first who I thought she was going to end up with. Later, it felt very clear that it would be Paul, but at first I thought, okay, I can't quite tell because I felt like she was giving similar energy to both. I felt like it was very much, we're playful, we're having a good chat, and then I'm going to throw out like, are you talking to other women? Are you feeling a better connection with this person or not? That was kind of the energy that I feel like she was at with both Paul and Micah, which was interesting because I felt then both had similar reactions. With Kwame, she kind of was like, well, this is where I'm at. And with Paul, she was like, well, this is where I'm at. And both for her said, I'll leave the other person and we'll move forward now. Her initial conversation was with Kwame, and he expressed to her, you're not giving me enough affirmation in this way. And she
basically just told him, like, is it that? Okay, I'll give you more of that. I understand. You know, kind of vibe. Basically kept him on the hook. Basically being like, I don't know if I want to back up or I just like the affirmation, but I'm loving this and I don't want to lose you. So what if Paul doesn't work out? I don't want to. It was literally kind of felt like that. It was almost like,
and Kwame,
I need a second car just in case my first car breaks down.
And Kwame, 100%, Kwame came in and was like, I have a strong connection with another woman.
Yeah.
And Kwame then says, if I was to write down the perfect girl, it would be you. And I'm like, Kwame, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, Kwame's so easy to read too. He comes in, he's like, I'm actually kind of having a connection with someone else. And she goes, oh, really? Well, then you should go with him. And then he's just like, well, I wouldn't if you loved me more. And she's like, well, I love you more. He's like, fine, I'll ditch everyone I know for you. And it's like, dude, like, could you be more like obvious?
Hold the cards closer to the chest,
and
my
guy. And we thought Paul was more obvious too. We thought Paul was more slick.
Yes.
And then he falls for the same thing.
Same thing.
He's kind of going, there's some other people I got to figure out what I'm going to do. And she's like, oh, okay, well, I was really hoping you would say that you liked me because I think I like you the most. He's like, never mind, I'll ditch her immediately. I like you the most. It's like, what is with this girl? Because I'm not seeing anything in the pods that is creating any sort of electricity.
The only thing I'm feeling is the casual nature.
That she's not desperate for it. So then they kind of feel like, whoa, like,
I feel like she just kind of would
win her over.
And she'll give them shit a little bit, like in a more playful way where she'll be like, oh, okay, what, you have tons of options, nerd, and kind of laugh. Like she's kind of poking at him a little bit.
Paul mentioned her like sultry voice. So maybe to them, she has kind of like a hot voice, like a, hey, boys. So then they're kind of like, whoa.
I think that's a big thing.
Yeah.
I think she's got a voice that is like sexy voice.
Yeah,
and so they're like, envisioning, they have a specific vision
in the pods,
mind.
And they're just like.
And so they're like, I have a way better connection with this other person and we're getting way deeper, but I hear sexy voice over here and I gotta know what she looks like.
Horny in the pods. You know what I mean? You start to get, you're just like, what is it? pod sex.
Pod sex.
Yeah. But yes, no, I think she had something that kind of just made their imaginations go wild.
He then asked her if she sees them making it. And she says, I have someone else, but it's a slow burn, but I can see a future with you. He's thrilled. And he literally tells her, I want to propose now. And her mouth is on the floor. They're just a few days in. And then she brings up her slow burn relationship again. She's like, I think I need to know beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Yes.
Right? And then Kwame handled that, I thought, very well. He was like, oh yeah, who am I to tell you to cut out a connection? And she said, I want to make sure for your sake that like it's for sure.
Yes.
And to her credit, I would...
Yeah, he jumped so far.
I would do the same thing. I'd be like, oh, hold on. I'm still talking to two people. And even though maybe we're a little farther, let's just slow the roll a little bit.
You can't blame her all the way for this. Because it's like he was so desperate for her.
Yeah.
That like she basically goes, oh, I thought we had a good connection. But I mean, she definitely was manipulative in that, like the fact that she didn't go... because she was even saying like, Kwame, like I heard you're talking to another girl, like what's going on with that kind of vibe. So he's trying to get her to or she's trying to get him to like be on the hook. She gets him on the hook, but he should have played it cool more. And instead he literally goes, I'm willing to, I'm
ditching it all.
Like in 5 minutes, he goes, I'm talking to someone else and they're really blowing my mind. 5 minutes later, he says, I'm willing to propose early right now.
Which
to you.
Is going to be probably a mind fuck for Chelsea if they are still together watching this 100%. Now. Because he was like, I'm throwing it all away for her. Also, something that I noticed was as soon as Kwame and her were done and he like proposed, she went right back to Irina and they were like laughing about it. Like, wow, he's out of his mind. Yeah. Like, wow. But in the pod with him, she was like, I so appreciate it, but I'm, and then she went and I felt like she was making fun of it with Irina. So I don't even know.
Are you talking about the breakup or him just being obsessed with her?
No, him just proposing early. Yeah. And so that made me think, I don't even know if she was really vibing with Kwame or if it was just like, I don't think so.
I do think that it was like she hadn't vibed with Paul yet. So she was like, well, I don't want to get kicked off the show. So let's just kind of keep this energy going. Mm-hmm. I think she seems like she's someone who's very used to just keeping guys on the hook.
Yeah.
And giving them just enough to think that she likes them.
Just
and then just like leaving them to hang out to dry.
Yeah.
Because then even when they broke up, and she gets back to the room with everyone, and then the Chelsea thing, she's laughing at like yeah, I had to break up with him.
She said, "Do you think he's gonna leave?"
Like, it was just like I had to break up with him. It was like, why is that funny?
Well, he's like in the other side just sobbing.
And it was also like the saddest thing ever. The way that he responded to getting broken up with was like a movie again, another movie version of a guy trying to play it cool. Like he goes, I'm willing to give you my whole heart, my whole soul, my whole everything. And she goes, I really think that we should just really give each other's energy to other people and explore other connections. I'm sorry. And he goes, totally, that's fine. Honestly, that's actually great. Like, honestly, I'm so happy that this happened because it's like,
it was nice to know you.
It was so nice to meet you. And like, you're amazing. And like, I'm actually glad that we're breaking up because like, I just honestly feel that like, it's just one of those things that is just so awesome. And like, anyway, it was really nice meeting you. It's crazy. I gotta go. Like, it was literally like that. It was literally like the way he responded was just like, oh, totally. No, I was going to say the same thing. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. Like, it was brutal. It was
so brutal. It was so brutal. And she didn't help within her commentary back with the women. So then she starts to get to know Paul better.
Paul. What a character this cat is.
Paul. Okay, before we dive into Paul, got to take a quick pause. Okay. So family, it is time to talk about Rocket Money. Listen, you hear us talking about Rocket Money all the time because it's absolutely wowed me. I will never forget the day I discovered Rocket Money and simultaneously discovered how many subscriptions I had signed up for that I was still paying for that I had no idea about. Okay, yikes. But thanks to Rocket Money, I was able to cancel all of those subscriptions so easily, and I saved myself about $1,000 a year now.
Easily.
We
are a house that uses Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills, all in one place. Over 80% of people have subscriptions they forgot about, including us. Like that quiz app that tells you what kind of fish you would be, that ends up charging you monthly after the first 30 days. Rocket Money will quickly and easily find your subscriptions for you. And for any of you that don't want to pay anymore, just hit cancel and Rocket Money will cancel it for you. It's that easy.
Rocket Money also helps you manage all your finances in one place and automatically categorizes your expenses so you can easily track your budget in real time and also get alerted if anything looks off. Over 3 million people have used Rocket Money, saving the average person up to $720 a year. And like I said, for me, it was more like $1,000. So thank you, Rocket Money.
Stop throwing your money away. Cancel unwanted subscriptions and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/momdad. That's rocketmoney.com/momdad. rocketmoney.com/momdad.
So I cannot believe I'm saying this, but summer is on its way. Summer is on its way. And we all know the best thing about summer is getting to do all your favorite indoor things outside, like sharing meals together, watching movies, falling asleep on that sofa accidentally. Everything's better outside. And if you're looking to upgrade your backyard setup, look no further than Article. Article's curated catalog of outdoor furniture is here to help you get your dream setup. They've got everything you need to really make things your own, from outdoor sofas to dining sets to decor.
And by the way, Article's flexible range of styles means you can do more with the space you've got. Article's the best. Most of all of our furniture is from Article. It's sleek, high quality, and thanks to their online-only model, they have some seriously great prices.
And their curated assortment of mid-century modern, coastal, industrial, Scandinavian, and boho designs makes furniture shopping simple. I am far from an interior designer, but I know whatever I get from Article is going to look good together because of this. Also, Article offers fast, affordable shipping across the US and Canada, and they won't leave you waiting around. You pick the delivery time and they'll send you updates every step of the way. Their customer care team, by the way, is phenomenal. Article is offering our listeners $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. To claim, visit article.com/momdad and the discount will be automatically applied at checkout. That's article.com/momdad for $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. Article.com/momdad. So here's the thing, Ev. Can we turn the air on? I know it's not going to sound great. Sorry, guys, but we got to turn the air on. It started for the first time in LA in a minute. It's not raining and it is warm. It is warm, warm, warm. Okay, got the air ripping now.
Yes,
Sorry,
okay.
everybody, but I gotta keep the air pumping, or else I'm gonna start to melt.
City.
Okay. Next, we have Paul.
Yes.
Now, Paul is an environmental scientist. He is a very smart man.
It's his identity, for sure.
Yeah, he definitely was sharing that with everybody, which, granted, it's a very cool job.
Yes.
But Paul's going in, and the first, thing that we get to know about Paul is that Paul looks at this as an experiment. Mm-hmm. He says it directly in ITMs. He's like, well, this is an experiment of sorts, and I believe that I could probably surpass the experiment. The experiment wouldn't work on me, but here we are, and the experiment is, in fact, working on me, so I do approve of this experiment.
God. Hate to say it. Like, again, you guys, I'm trying to be positive here, okay? I'm trying. We got off The Bachelor. We had fun. There were some moments of negativity, but god damn, this show is like, if they should call it, they could like try to be positive while watching this show. Because this guy, and Paul, if you're listening, man, this is not like a personal attack on you, but your arrogance about your level of intellect regarding, like, because the way he talks to everyone is so condescending and so just like, we are humans in this globe of extraterrestrial flailing through the galaxy, and I'm just here to observe these idiots, you know what I mean, be amongst my glory. He's just got that energy, and it's just like, I might get proven dead wrong, and I'm sure a lot of people, I don't know because I haven't been diving into people's opinions on the cast so far this season, but I bet there's a lot of Paul stans out there because he's a handsome guy. He's a handsome dude. He's very smart.
He's very smart. But I gotta tell you, and again, might be proven very wrong, he to me is such a giant red flag because the energy I got from him right off the bat was, this is a man who is the absolute Brad Pitt of scientists.
Yes.
Like everyone else who he works with, like he is a fucking movie star, rock star god. He's got the gorgeous curl that's coming down. Yeah. He's got a swag about him. I feel like he has a cool style too. I feel like he dresses like interesting and
he kind of had a pirate look at the end there.
Yeah, he makes some like definite fashion decisions, and I'm like, he is the king of the scientists, like physically. And you know that like everyone that he works with, all the women around
Well,
him.
I'm no Paul, but I'd love to take you out on a date. You know, like that's been said at his lab or whatever. You know what I mean?
They're just waiting for the women that Paul rejects, and
Yeah.
hopefully. But I would have just imagined like all the women that he's working with probably are like, oh my God, Paul, he's so hot, he's so smart,
Right.
He's got a swag about him.
He does.
And to me, I go, this is a red flag because I feel like Paul is going to be that we will find that Paul is a fuck boy amongst his science community.
He definitely is.
That's what I believe. So at first, when Paul was in there, I'm like, I don't know about like what connection's gonna work with Paul. And I will say truly, him and Micah are the ones who walked away getting engaged.
Yeah.
I think they're perfect together.
I think they're a match made in heaven.
I think they're perfect together.
It was funny as we were watching the show, we were writing some notes, and I wrote down just like Paul and Micah, perfect for each other. And then Jess like looked over at me like 10 minutes later, not knowing what I wrote down, and was just like, I don't know how you feel, but I think it's a match made in heaven. And I'm like, yes.
Perfect for each other.
They're both manipulative. They're both game players.
Yeah, I don't know if Paul. Yeah, I'm questioning
I'm
if
not
Paul
saying-
is intentional about
Right.
it. I don't know.
Okay, well, they're both like,
But he's a red flag to me.
yeah, but they're both just like, they have some traits that are a bit tough, and they have similar traits. And the fact that they're attracted to each other's energy, I think they're perfect for each other because they're kind of met each other's match.
Yes.
Like, I do feel like they would chew and spit up other people on that show if they were dating them. But I feel like together they give each other a run. Like, I feel like they're gonna be able to meet each other on the battlefield.
I think they're gonna fight a lot,
Right.
but I think it's going to be one of those things where it's like, oh, I met my person, because I can picture them. I see them in 5 years. They're leaving one of his science convention dinners, like a gala.
Yeah.
And I picture them like on the way home in the town car. Like I picture her being like, oh my God, Paul, you are so much hotter and smarter than all of those other people.
100%.
But then them ramping each other up and it actually working out.
Yes. Yes, and the one thing I will say that was different was that I do feel like Paul had much more empathy than Micah did. Because when Paul broke up with Amber, was it Amber?
Yes.
Yeah, when Paul broke up with Amber, he was like stressed about it. And then after he broke, he felt so bad.
He did. He felt really bad.
Versus Micah was like laughing and shit. So
Yeah.
it's like there is a level of like, you know,
Like,
vicious, or no, not to use
Micah
the word
might
vicious.
Micah might end up hurting Paul
Yes.
in the long run, but
Yes.
I do feel like they'll work out and that they are a match made in heaven.
Yes, and they both were attracted. You know, you seem like when they met each other, they were attracted to each other.
Yes.
They
They were definitely vibing on each other physically, it seemed like.
Yes. When she said, "What would you do if you only had 4 weeks left to live?" Or did he say that? They were having that conversation.
She did, I think.
She brought that up. Because he goes, the cringiest line of all time. He goes, then I guess we'd just be in bed for 4 weeks.
Okay.
I was just like,
Hold on a second. That was the thing at the top about Paul that I was writing down in my notes like violently. I was just like, this man
Cringe City.
makes everything a sexual
Yes.
innuendo, which was again giving me the big fuck boy vibes, which I get as a flirtation move, but for me it's a red flag where I go, this just feels too smooth, and I personally just I don't like the smooth thing. I like the direct honesty vibe a little more. The other reason I think where I was feeling some serious red flag energy personally was when he was talking with Amber. So obviously Amber was Paul's other individual that he was connecting with, and I was actually feeling a spark with them. I felt like they were having really good, fun, serious conversation. But at one point, Amber was talking about her divorces and how she felt like, you know, she doesn't want to ever be in a position again where she is not being treated the way that she should be treated and not being loved the way she should be loved. And she was really opening up.
Yeah.
And then Paul asked her, would you ever cheat on a spouse? And I thought Amber gave such a vulnerable, powerful answer because it was so honest. And she said something along the lines of that it might have gone in that direction.
Yeah.
Because she was, it was in a situation where if it wouldn't have ended, it might have gone in that direction. So she doesn't think so, but you never know because it was fizzling out and, you would hope it wouldn't go there, but maybe. And I thought that was such a honest answer because I think for so many people, that can be the truth. Like your marriage is falling apart. You didn't cheat. But if someone says, would you ever? It's kind of like, well, I don't think so, but I don't know. This is the direction it was going. And he legitimately goes, kind of a red flag.
Yeah.
And she had just opened up about a hard part of her life, and then he let her know that she was kind of a red flag. And then she goes, hold on a second. I'm talking about the past. Like for how,
And I never did it.
And
I'm
I
just
never did it.
like
And I'm just being vulnerable. And she's like, now it's a hell no. I would have, like at this point now in my life, I would for sure end it before that would ever happen. But maybe in my younger years in this marriage, like if I'm being honest, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden she's like, now I'm feeling really anxious because of how you said that. And then he just kind of throws out, I just love who you are. That to me was another moment where I was like, I did not like the way that he just goes, a red flag. And then she starts feeling anxious. And then he just throws in this Band-Aid.
Yes. I love who you are. She's like, what? Where'd that come from?
Where did that come from?
Yeah. It was very like, it was a setup. It was a total setup, and then she failed in his eyes. And then he was just like, interesting. The AI has not agreed to this.
Exactly.
Character, setup. But like, yeah, it was just, he clearly was like, I like her, but I'm so drawn to Micah that I'm just kind of looking to poke holes in this situation. So it makes it easier when we do break up.
And so when he ended up getting together with Micah at one point in the pods, Micah, game move, she says, well, like, basically, where are you at with Amber? Where are you at with Amber?
She did that with both Paul and Kwame, which is like kind of acted jealous. And then they kind of got on edge, which is interesting.
And Paul told her, I'm be honest with you, Amber and I have a really good connection. We're really deep. I feel like she's very intellectual and great, and we have this like intense connection. And Micah's response, she's like, whatever.
Yeah, like, fine.
Yeah, fine.
I'm going to go call Jim. Wait, no. Like she did that thing. She created that sense of I might lose her if I don't capitalize on this. She didn't go, well, what's better about her? Or like, how do we develop a connection? Or like, let me not worry about her and just worry about myself. She knows. She knows that like if I create a sense of scarcity with myself, I will make them have to make a rash decision here.
And in those panic moments, then we have Paul and Micah basically commit to each other and say, we're done. And we're not talking to our other people.
Right.
And Micah makes sure, she goes, Paul, are you going to really end it? Are you going to end it? How long are you going to take to end it? Are you going to continue to talk to this person? And she was like, you better get your ass in gear, which obviously then we saw him end everything with Amber, and it was rough. Micah ended it swiftly with Kwame, but they end up getting engaged then. He proposes to her. He lets her know that when he's in the presence of true love, it feels like the warmth of the sun on his body, and they get engaged.
Crazy.
And like you said,
but like I think they're meant for each other. Like
I think they're meant for each other
like
too.
I think they're going to cause too much hurt with other people, but together they're dialed.
Like he said, when they had the reveal and they saw each other, he said, her makeup is perfect, her dress is perfect, her eyes are perfect. It's like, this is the prototype that I'm looking for.
This is the one I've designed.
This is the one that I've designed, and this is who I was hoping to get to. And I think that she's like, he's hot, he's smart, let's do this thing. He's going to make some good money.
Yeah, exactly.
He's going to make some cash. He's going to make some cash. Okay, should we talk about Marshall and Jackelina?
Yes.
Let's talk Marshall and Jackelina. So Marshall and Jackelina, I mean, I'm nervous with these two.
Yeah, me too. That was a rough, when they met.
I'm nervous with these two.
You could see the like, I love this guy. Physically, I'm not quite there. Maybe I'll get to it.
Yes. And it was really rough to watch because the two of them had such an intense connection in the pods.
Yes. He poured his soul.
He poured his soul out. This man is a poet. He poured his soul out. He seems like the most wonderful man. By the way, cousin of Justin Glaze from The Bachelor. So we have reality TV royalty in our midst. Like, let's see the TikToks that these men are going
got
to
him
create
an
together.
audition, yeah.
Will we see Marshall, if he doesn't end up with Jackelina, on the beaches in paradise? Will we have a crossover?
That'd be dope.
Will Netflix and ABC decide to
I could see
join
Justin and
forces?
Jackelina.
I could see Justin and Jackelina too, actually. Well, that'll be an awkward family
Don't
dinner.
steal your cousin's girl. But no, he was so honest. He was like, I've always been bullied for my emotions. I'm an emotional guy. I'm very passionate. I'm very emotive. So the fact that I can kind of just be myself and this person's accepting me for it. She was obviously torn between him and Josh. Josh kind of had a little bit more of the tough guy. She even said like tough guy personality.
Yeah, he's got kind of bad boy
a little
energy.
more bad boy energy.
Yeah.
She's like, that's generally what I'm attracted to kind of vibe. But this Marshall guy is really throwing me off my rocker, but he's also allowing me to be emotional and access things that I haven't accessed in years. So it was like what I'm used to versus my heart versus my head. I need to go with what I know is good. She kept saying he's a quality man. I'm going to go
Yes.
after what I think is a quality man. Mm-hmm. And
that's that moment right there. I wrote
That's
that
that
down.
moment, yeah.
I was like, he is a quality man.
Mm-hmm.
He is a quality man.
he stood up for her against Josh when the tough guy. So everything on paper with him is he's a great guy. The issue is you can tell that she is just like physically there is she didn't say anything, but you could just tell from the way that she was reacting is it was like straight for the hug, and then it was kind of like did they even kiss, like maybe a smooch or two?
Yeah, some quick
and
little
then
smoochies.
She wouldn't really look at him.
No.
And then like the second the
God,
doors
it hurt my
closed
body so
and he was being like real expressive and you could tell that
Because
she
he was so stoked on her. Marshall
Yeah.
was so stoked
doing
on her.
spins
I
in
mean,
this
she's
and-
stunning. It's like,
Yes.
holy smokes.
And there was a little bit of energy what I got, which was like, dang, I've never dated a girl this good looking before. So he was like literally dancing for joy.
Yeah.
It was like in the movies when the girl or guy goes walks out of the apartment and they do like a happy dance if they're so
Like, we
excited.
kissed each
We
other,
did
yeah.
it, and then the guy or girl's still looking at them and they're like, like you shouldn't have seen how excited I am. He was doing that in front of her with no shame. She was like, I am trying really hard right now to like not getting my head about the fact that like maybe physically he's not my type. Like you could just see it because when they turned away and the doors closed, he was looking directly at her, celebrating, and she is like, you see all the kind of emotion leave her eyes as she turns away.
I know. And I'm like, so I'm feeling devoed beforehand because
Yeah.
first of all,
You just see it
Jackelina tickles me.
She's so funny,
She
charming,
is
awesome.
so stunning. She the whole time in the pods, she's simultaneously vulnerable and calm and funny. Her ITMs are hilarious. She seems like all the women
It's
love
like if you have
her.
halitosis, that's the only thing I can't get over.
She's like, it's incurable.
That was funny as shit. Yeah.
And so she's so funny and charming. And you could hear her when she was learning all these things about Marshall, and there's this deep connection in her ITMs. She's like, this is the guy for me. This is the type of man that I want to be with. And I so believe that they could be so good for each other, but I'm very, very, very nervous that he's just not quite. And even if it's not he's her type physically, maybe it's just the energy in person. Sometimes you even think someone's super hot, but just when you see them in person, all of a sudden something shifts. And you and I were talking, this show for me would be really fucking hard if I fell in love with someone and there's a fucking wall up. Okay? I would 1000% picture exactly what they look like. And if that door opened for the reveal, even if the person was 10 times hotter than I thought they were going to be, if it was different than what I pictured in my mind the whole time falling in love, it would take me
Throw you off.
It would take me a while to get used to. Like, I couldn't hop into Mexico and be like, we're good, I'm ready to make out and go there, because I would have an image in my mind of who I was talking to. And like I said, even if the person was way hotter in person than what I thought they were going to look like, it would still be it would be hard for me. Because I'm like, I picture things in my mind and I visually see, like when I listen to audio erotica or like audio books, I see the people. And so I have a hard time. I'm one of those people who has a really fucking hard time seeing movies after reading or listening to a book, because I'm like, I know exactly who I picture, and even if the actor is way hotter, I had an image in my mind, and I'm having a hard time shifting.
And the opposite was the purest, best outcome you could have ever gotten was Brett and Tiffany.
Oh my God.
because they connect on the most mature level. There's no games, there's no back and forth, there's no BS. They're laughing, they're connecting, they're strong, their personalities are different, which is really cool. Like she's much more like outgoing and like let's talk about it. He's a little more quiet and reserved, but like intellectual.
And she brings that out of him.
They're both beautiful. Like, so you're kind of on paper, you're like, this should work. And then when they meet, you're like, oh my God. And they look at each other, they're like, you're perfect looking. Oh, you're perfect. It's like, it could not be a better result.
Let me say something about this Love is Blind couple. If they don't work out in the end,
no one's working out.
love is dead.
Yeah, love is not blind. You can
call the show Love is Dead. Love is dead.
Call it There Is No Hope.
There is no hope. I stopped watching the show.
Yes.
Because the moment those two were in the pods together, I've been watching the episode, and I'm like, this is so Cringe City. I can't take it. It's so painful. And then you see them, and I'm like, getting a little emotional watching this. I mean, the two of them immediately were so vulnerable, and both of them just individually are such incredible people. It's like magic.
He's pouring his heart out about his brothers,
God.
passing, about his upbringing, and
he's incredible. What he did when
he's an amazing,
massive designer, and he's working with these companies, and like,
and she's this badass saleswoman who's killing it, and she's so, she's so empathetic. She would listen to him and smile and close her eyes, listening to him talk about his struggles. Like it was
making me really emotional.
She's extremely empathetic and extremely there for him. Like that's some real king and queen vibes. You know what I mean?
Oh, no. And when he did things like he brought her the shoes, you could see like it meant so much to her, and he had like so much thought behind everything. And then seeing him even on the men's side when he was talking to Marshall, and he's really struggling with putting himself out there because of what the hurt that he's experienced with his brother in the past and all these deep things. And Marshall's there, and he's and Brett's crying, and they're supporting each other. I was like, this is the real deal.
Real deal.
And then also Tiffany saying like, this is so working for me because in real life I might have written him off because I'd be like, well, does he have a degree? And then
you have your checklist, you know what I mean? Especially the older you get, if you're in your 30s and you're single, you have a checklist of things you want because you've like learned from things. You're like, oh, you have a checklist. He does this, this, this.
And that's the way I think this show can absolutely work sometimes, is that I think sometimes we create these checklists in our mind, which I think can be good, because you want to have these specific things. But there's certain things on the checklist that it's like, listen, life's going to surprise you, and you might not meet certain people that are wonderful and better for you if you're fixated on a checklist.
100%.
That's for sure.
And before we move on to the final boss couple, in my opinion, I do want to talk about the fact that Tiffany did something that I resonated with.
Oh my God.
On such a high level. So she professes to Brett that she loves him.
Yes.
He then is like shook and just like, wow, I've never heard those words before, blah, blah, blah. And he starts going on a kind of a moment of like, I'm now expressing to you how I feel.
He is opening up his soul. He's
opening up his soul after she told him that she loves him. He finishes his thing and goes, are you there? Are you there? Are you there? And they pan to her and she's asleep.
No.
Yeah. And then you could clearly they had been drinking, like maybe because like there was open bottle of tequila right next to her, so clearly they had been pouring cocktails or something and talking and drinking.
And who knows? They probably were in that pod for like 7 hours.
It's probably 10 o'clock at night even. Who knows? But
later, I'm sure.
But it was so funny because she's out and she looks so blissful. I just told my man I loved him. He's telling me he loves me.
She's having the best night of sleep of her life. She got a little drink and she's finding out that she's in love and he loves her.
And she passes out and he goes, are you there? Are you there? And he's devastated. He walks away, back to the pot.
Because he was stressed about sharing it with her. Yes. And then she's dead silent.
And
he doesn't know that she's sleeping, by the way. As far as he can tell, she's either just sitting there and not knowing if she's going to express it back to him or if she walked out because it was too much for her. He's not assuming she's sleeping.
And I just felt so seen by that moment because the amount of times I used to be like the guy that like all my friends used to be like, oh, you're like the sleep guy, because I would just be like on a couch. There'd be 10 people in a group, and I would just go like this.
I think we've talked about this on the podcast before, that
he falls asleep sitting up
constantly
in the middle of a party.
Like, and we have had so many conversations, you and I, especially like while we were dating late night.
I'm on the couch
where we are
deep
talking about our future and our love, and I'd be in the middle of some rant, and Evan would fall asleep in front of my face, looking dead in my eyes.
So let me just make a decree here to anyone who struggles with sleeping mid-conversation like I do. Because when you're late night, you've had 2 cocktails, and someone starts going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because Jess can get a little chatty late night, okay?
Oh, God.
She
I
can
love a late
she
night
can
talk.
get real like 11 p.m. just like, you know what's crazy? And I'm going like,
I'll wake up.
Are you
I'll
shitting
be
me?
so tired all day. And then all of a sudden,
Yes.
when we're getting ready for bed, I get into bed and I sit up and I go, oh my God, Evan, you know what I've been really feeling passionate about lately? And
I'm
I'll
just
go on
like-
some rant about something that I read about for hours.
so here's what you have to
As
do.
he's in bed, like so comfy, trying to stay awake.
Take it from a pro. You have to sit up. Don't kid yourself, Tiffany, and think that you have the power to lay down and listen. You got to know know thyself. Sit up. Sit up straight. Put your hands in cold water. Do something to keep
Especially
it
after you have a couple
going.
drinks. Tiffany,
you have
you
a couple
can't lay
drinks
down.
and lay down with a blanket on, and you're trying to talk
It's
emotional.
over.
It's over. You're
It's
out.
over.
So anyway, I just wanted to sympathize with that and say that I feel you, Tiffany. I have done that many occasions.
And Tiffany is my kind of woman because the second those girls came in
She
and
was
they're
just
like,
like,
Tiffany, she literally woke up mid-sleep and started singing and
Yeah.
dancing. And I was like, she's ready for the party. I love this woman. I love this
Yes.
woman. But then I was actually
a little nervous.
feeling really nervous that Brett would be like really hurt by it.
Because he's a sensitive dude.
Yeah, for sure. And he was so nervous about talking
Yeah.
about it. So then they end up going in the pods and she is panic.
Yes.
She is panic spilling. She's like,
Panicking.
I just want you to know it meant so much to me. Your voice was so soothing and calm and I was so happy and
Yeah.
then I fell asleep and oh my gosh, it means so much to me and I'm here for you and I'll be with you for the rest of my life and da-da-da. And he paused, he had that moment and he was just like, we're going to laugh about this one day. And I'm like,
My man.
that's,
Mature.
that is the couple forever.
Yes.
But when he said, it's okay,
Yes.
we'll laugh about this one day, he paused for a second and he literally said, you there? And all I could think about
Oh God.
was if all of a sudden she had fallen asleep again.
yeah. He was like, and this will be a small thing in our long journey. Tiffany? She goes, yes, I'm here. But it would have been unreal
And
if
she's
they cut
out
to her again.
and
She's
she's
like,
just out. Oh,
That would be so
I was
funny.
just like cutting to a clip of him and then it happening over and over
Yeah.
again, and then continuing to try to mend the relationship, and then her always falling asleep.
always falling asleep.
Always falling
Like, she gets because we have a friend that when they get anxious, they get like tired and it's just over.
Oh yeah,
They pass out. So
I
it's like-
relate to that
Yeah,
for sure.
something so funny about someone who's like, oh, this is a lot.
Just out.
Yeah.
I really am hoping that there is a moment that they can laugh about that
Yeah.
during Mexico or some moment when they go back home with each other that she falls asleep again mid-conversation. That would be hilarious.
That would be she should play into it.
She should play
sometimes.
into it because I feel like he just seems like the type of guy who would
Could
be able to
laugh
laugh
it
it
off,
off
yeah.
and they'd have a good moment together.
Yeah, that'd
but
be
then when
funny.
they saw each other, they both were so into
my
each
gosh,
other,
it was
and the
amazing.
makeout session they went direct
a
makeout.
hot-
It was
a hot
passionate.
makeout.
It was
Yeah.
like it's everything.
Yes.
I love
Amazing.
it.
Congrats
Okay,
for them.
your final boss couple that to
Irina and Zach.
you. Oh my God. Okay.
Zach is a unique character on the highest level. Irina's a mean girl. You know what I mean? Irina's just your classic, right down the middle, mean girl.
Well, Irina was really devastating to me because at the very beginning when she had her ITM and she was talking about how she had acne growing up and she then was feeling like what she so learned is that it's what's so important is not to judge the outside, but the
Yeah.
inside is so important.
I'm not
And,
just my, she said, I'm not just my skin and I'm not just my hair. That'll change. But like
it's who I am deep down
And
inside.
then
And so
10
I
minutes
thought
later-
Irina was going to be this like gem. And then all of a sudden she's just laughing at everybody. And I'm like,
10 minutes later, she's laughing while people are crying.
I mean, there's
She's
clearly
like,
a lot of
there's some stuff
pain
going
that
on
needs
there.
to be.
Yeah.
There's some serious therapy that needs to happen. Some work with like some maybe past pain that needs
Yeah.
to be shoveled
And then we
out.
got Zachary. And Zachary's opening line is, I'm a stripper. Like, what?
to all the women.
They're like, what do you do for a living? He's like, I'm a stripper.
Now the way that Zachary was leaning in the pod.
He's like, stripper, you? You know? And it was just like, okay. At
He
first I
was-
was excited. At first I was like, oh, he's a stripper. That's kind of cool.
I know I was stoked.
I was actually excited. I was like, oh, it's a nice, interesting kind of change up. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, I see what they're going to do. They're going to say, hey, let's pull down the walls of your judgment, maybe, of the stripper title with this guy. And you're going to have to kind of realize he's, whatever. And you're going to have to get to know him before
Yeah.
you judge him. Because that one girl goes, ew. And like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's like they were setting it up for like, whatever preconceptions you have, get rid of, no. It was just a fake thing he was doing to fuck with people.
No, and he was just, but the way he was leaning, and then when they come in and he'd go, I'm a stripper. Yeah, stripper. And then all of a sudden he goes, actually, I'm a criminal defense attorney. And I threw myself off the couch.
So weird.
And I said, no. And then
He wore on you.
you guys, he got me.
He got you.
And Evan was there when I was yelling at the TV. I was lecturing. In
Right.
fact, there was a moment where him and Bliss were talking, and he was talking about his special song with his mom. And I'm like, it's a line. He's using a line. And I thought, I'm like, oh, and there was a moment too where someone said, did you say the same thing to Irina? Or the same thing to Bliss? And he was like, yeah, I said the same thing. And
Oh no, he gave
brought
the
Ralph.
teddy bear,
Ralph,
the teddy bear to both of them.
To both of
That's
them.
epic.
And then Irina
Actually,
goes-
when you actually think about how insane that is, that's amazing. He goes, he has a date with someone, hands them his special teddy bear with this whole story around how it means so much to him. So he's willing to show his love to you for the teddy bear. He asks for it back and then gives it to the next girl as the same thing. Is a wild move.
And I'm like, I believed at first everything was a line.
Yes.
He's just kind of like going to be
But
this
then-
sleazy, whatever. And you guys, judge me away. Judge away. I don't care what any of you all think, and I might definitely regret this later if some shit pops out.
This is
but
as of
I
the beginning of
have to
episode
tell
4.
you, but I also think this is probably an unpopular opinion, even
Yeah.
3 episodes in. I don't care. I like Zach.
Yeah.
Like, do I think that Zach makes some seriously terrible decisions? 1,000%. I think Zach's got a lot of work to do to process in himself. There's a lot of hurt. We also found out about everything with his mom.
Yeah.
And then I started to think, oh
The
my
fact
God.
he was judged by like.
But then at first I thought the whole stripper thing was like, he's trying to be this cocky
Yeah.
dude. But then all of a sudden I'm like, when he says his mom used to be a stripper, I'm like, was this a test to see how the women would react and how they would accept? And do I think that that's the right way to do it? No. But there's something about Zach. I like
Endearing.
it. I like Zach.
Well, I think there was something there's something about him that's very honest, and like he has these certain things, but then he'll realize like that wasn't working. So like he did this with, it was either Irina or Bliss, where he said, he was basically saying, I had this like stripper opening line. I kind of was trying to be this cocky guy, and then I realized that if I want this to work, I got to be vulnerable. And so they started opening up. And he's still awkward, and he says things like brutally honest sometimes that are strange, but there is an endearing quality to him of like, he is raw and open and honest to like a level that's uncommon.
And it's like, I don't even care if everyone right now disagrees with me. There's something about Zach that I really like him.
And then
I want to, the whole time, I wanted to be an earpiece. I wanted to have an earpiece in Zach's ear and be like, you're literally looking in the eyes of someone who is your potential soulmate. You guys got your special song together. Is it a song that
not
everybody...
looking into the eyes, looking into the
wall of, you guys are both owls, apparently. You both feel like you're owls. You guys got all these wild things in common. Bliss is showing up for you and remembering your birthday, baking you cakes and things. And then when you're expressing that you're feeling stressed about the fact that Bliss and Irina are arguing, Bliss sits down with this woman who's being quite terrible and buries the hatchet for Zach and then lets Zach know. And when Zach's in the interviews, or talking with the men, he's saying there's this deep soul connection. Her mind is so sexy.
And he's even saying to Irina, you're vicious. You know what I mean? So
oh my God.
You think it's over, and then he chooses her. You're like, whoa.
And I was getting so mad watching it because I'm just like, this is the most blatant like guy who's making the classic mistake.
It was the Kwame mistake. It was
the
the like,
Kwame
I'm getting
mistake.
caught up in this feeling of like a danger. Like I kind of am attracted to this like danger thing.
And I'm wondering, even like Bliss is like so mature and so smart, and we have
Can
this
I
like
add to this?
Yeah, and it's almost a little bit like, I'm gonna choose the one who, I know everyone thinks you're vicious, and I can kind of sense that too, but I know your heart.
Yeah,
and you're
I
like,
know
no,
the real
and you're like,
you.
no, you don't. And there was a moment where he shared with Bliss where he was like, I know her in a different way.
Yeah.
And Bliss said to him, which God, she's fantastic. Bliss goes, it's true. There are parts of her that you know that I don't see, but there are parts of her that you don't see that I see.
Right. So that was like they were both, mature and figuring it out. I mean, mature is a stretch, but like she was mature and he was like meeting her in that space. But he fell for the thing, which was like, man, but I'm gonna get. Maybe it honestly felt like maybe I'm gonna get the mean girl from high school to like me.
Yeah.
It almost felt like that. Like I'll be accepted.
Yeah.
So then they meet each other.
And I'm sorry, Evan, I couldn't be more shocked that he didn't choose Bliss.
Yeah.
Like that genuinely shocked me. I thought we're leading all the way up to this. And, I thought they were playing with us. Yeah, maybe he's going to choose Irina, but he's for sure going to choose Bliss. Yeah. He's for sure going to choose Bliss. And I'm like, my guy, you keep making mistake after mistake, and I want to be there and support you, but you're making all these fumbles. But then, like I said, there's these moments where you peep and you kind of see where then Bliss said something about like the family probably not liking anyone, and then you saw his insecurity come out where he's like, families have judged me before. There was just a lot of hurt with Zack. There's a lot of hurt, and like again, therapy that probably needs to be done and conversations, but there's that hurt, and it made my heart hurt, and I like Zack.
Yeah, I feel bad for him, and like he's got so many defenses, so many like things he's built.
And then Zack proposes to Irina.
Oh yeah, whoa.
With the song.
Oh, you guys, let's just lift up a prayer to the awkward gods. Just we need to do like a sacrifice or some sort of like sacrament, or I don't know what you call them, but because it was one for the ages. A cappella.
What all I could think about was Kwame and Zack definitely were on the man side of the pods writing these songs together.
Yeah.
And I just wish we would have seen the writing session that was going down. And what the other guys were thinking when they saw these men decide to essentially propose with song.
It was strange. The thing that I'm always blown away by, it would be like if this is a weird analogy, but this is the best thing I could think of. Like, I am not a visual artist at all. I'm not good at drawing. I'm not good at painting. I'm not good at any of that. It's like if I painted a picture for you and you got it and you open it up and it's a stick figure and it's just this like circle body on grass and then like the sun. And I said, I drew a portrait of you. That is literally what it was like for these guys to sing. I just am like, why would you go with something you're so bad at? Do something you're good at. Like, I'm sure you have some hobbies or some skills. You know what I mean? That you could do.
Let me tell you something about Zack. Zack likes to play with melodies. He's shifting all over the place. His melodies were all over.
It's very Bob Dylan, actually.
It was actually,
maybe he's kind of prolific.
You know what? I can't, I'm not going to lie to you. Hated it because I hate a Serenade more than anything. I've now listened to it about 3 times.
Kind of slaps? That's just because you like him now. That's just because you've forgiven him for all his awkwardness.
I kind of love it.
Like, it's not even a song. Like, you can't even write that.
A blonde stone. Like, come on, we gotta rewrite it. You gotta get the big bands out there. Just have some huge guitars. Just.
If that was the case, I would agree. But he's not even singing a song. He's like talking. He's just like, and I, and na. Yeah. All of a sudden, he's just like, I don't know, man.
What would you have thought if all of a sudden he would have come out and like slayed a song? Like, what if one of these guys would have come out and crushed the song?
See, I would have been like, whoa. The girl would have been like, what? Whoa, secret talent, hot.
I would have still been
the opposite
so
way.
uncomfortable.
That was like if you were like, hey, babe, you want to come watch me play basketball? And they're like, yeah. And he's just going like this, ding, 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 with one arm. And he's like in the wall. And then everyone's stealing the ball from away from him. And he's just going, ding, ding, ding. And he tries to like throw the ball to get it. And he just goes, ugh. And it just goes over the hoop into like the next door neighbor. And he's looking back at his girl going, yeah, don't you like watching this? It's like, literally that. It's literally being like, yeah, like trying to throw a ball and it just like goes 2 feet. And it's like,
is it like karaoke when you go to karaoke with someone and they are really good at karaoke and it's so awkward because they're really good at karaoke and the best people to go to karaoke with are terrible singers.
Yes, but you're still like, bragging and you're still like like this is literally like being like, come watch me be awesome, and you're the worst at it of all time.
Understood. Truth of the matter is this.
How does that, like, that alone for Irina? She must, you know what, honestly, I think it was. I think during the song, you could see her cringing, dying inside. I think Irina was going, I don't think I'm ready to be off the show yet.
No, Irina wants to be famous.
She wants to be famous.
She wants to be famous.
So she was
100%.
already just like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
No. Now, I will tell you this. No matter how much I was in love with someone and feeling someone in the pods and giving them all my dramatic energy and being like, I feel you all over me, in my skin and my heart and my soul. If they would have all of a sudden started to sing at me during the proposal, I would have ended it.
Done.
No questions asked. I would have been like, listen,
You
someone
call me
else.
a Blarney Stone, dude? You're gone.
Listen. You'll find a Chelsea who's going to orgasm to this. They're out there and they're going to love it. But for me, we're never going to work out.
Never.
Because this is, we speak a different language of love, my friend.
I think it's a trust thing. I can't trust you anymore.
I don't
If you're
trust
willing
you.
to think this is good, I can't trust you.
I cannot trust
cannot
you.
put my life and possible children in your hands one day.
It's like, what else are you gonna sing for? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. What else are you gonna do that's gonna if you're this blinded, this means that there's gonna be many things down the road that are gonna be problems.
Like all I can think about is then my next birthday that we're celebrating together at a restaurant, and you're going to be the guy who's publicly going to stand on top of the table and serenade me in public in front of everyone, where I'm begging you to stop
everyone's
because I
like,
hate it,
"We shouldn't be
and
here
nobody
anymore."
likes what's going on,
Yeah.
and you will continue doing it.
Okay. The final moment.
Irina and Zack are coming face to face. Now, this is after Irina has let Zack know, when Zack is in between Bliss and Irina, who you should have picked Bliss.
Yeah, obviously.
Zack, obviously, Bliss was wonderful. A wonderful woman.
Yes.
And she let you know all the things that Irina was doing that were not nice. And she literally used the word mean. This is a mean person. And then Irina tells Zack that she will always love him and that it doesn't matter what he looks like. It doesn't matter if she says something like if he's a nerd, if he's tall, if he's short. Doesn't matter. She'll always love him. And then they come face to face. And I want to say to anyone listening, if you didn't start watching episode 4, skip this part, okay? Because we had to watch
We watched like the first 5 minutes.
the
Just
first
to see,
5
just to see
minutes
the
of episode 4,
interaction.
and then we stopped. But we had to see them meet. So skip this. This man and woman come face to face.
Yeah.
And this is the meanest interaction I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it's probably one of the meanest I've ever seen.
Lee. They walk up to each other, and this woman doesn't pretend like she kind of is into him physically and then like say mean things in the ITMs. She doesn't even look at him and say, "You're not really my type." She starts saying like, "Oh my God, do you ever blink? Why are you staring at me like that? You're so creepy."
He goes, "Can I get a kiss?" And she goes, "Hugs for now." And they're getting engaged.
They're engaged.
They're engaged.
This is right after he's proposed to her. He gives her the ring and she goes, "Hugs for now."
And then she sits down and she goes, "You look like a cartoon character." Because now I will say this. Now obviously this is the meanest thing ever, but I will say this. In her defense, he was, or in the defense of him and her or whatever, he was acting extra strange. Like,
He was nervous,
No, but I'm just
and
saying,
it was awkward for sure.
But I'm just saying, like, in the pod, he was much more natural.
Yes.
In this case, he was stuck. The smile was stuck.
The smile was stuck.
And he wasn't blinking. So
smile was stuck.
it was a lot, but it's like,
It was so mean to say.
but she goes, "You're creepy." She's like,
You're
she's like, "You're
creepy."
creepy." And she's like, "You're creepy. You look like a cartoon character."
And then Zack
he goes,
in the
"I think that might have
ITM
been a compliment."
Yeah, in the ITM, Zach goes, I'm assuming it was a compliment.
Like, there's no way she could be that mean.
Like,
The
he,
cope is real.
oh my God. And he, in his mind, he's thinking, maybe she's thinking I look like, like Captain America. Or
Yeah, like
Batman.
Spider-Man, the cartoon's like a
Cartoon?
Superman. No, like the Joker.
Oh my God.
Because he was kind of giving Joker energy a little bit.
He was a little bit turned.
Like he was a little like stuck in this like
My guy was nervous.
He was nervous.
And I did want to be the in his ear and going, "Zach, deep breaths, breathe, Zach, breathe." Can you imagine saying this to somebody?
It's the rudest shit of all time.
It was the meanest thing I've ever
like,
heard.
all you gotta do is just chill for a second and be like, "Hey, it's so nice," and then go to overtime, be like, "Hey, if I'm just being super honest with you, I want to slow this thing down." But she was just panicking and going, "You're Like, it was the rudest thing I'd ever seen. Because I thought that Irina was rude around Micah, but I thought that she would fold not around Micah.
I think she got worse.
No, but I just was shocked.
Yeah.
I thought she would have folded.
Yeah.
But the fact that she was like that mean, especially someone
and then
who
in
had...
ITMs, she said something like, I'm going to have to get used to the fact that he doesn't look normal.
Yeah, she said, you don't look normal. And I was like, for someone who went on this whole rant about like...
That's the thing.
Like my skin and accepting me for who I am and I'm not just my looks, and then to go off on this person for their looks and call them names and everything.
Oh my God.
Real brutal shit, man.
Again, and then cut to her like an hour before in the pods being like, it doesn't matter what you look like, I'll always be there for you. And then your first response is making fun of the way that this man looks. Granted, even though he isn't breathing in the smile
He wasn't giving great smooth energy.
He wasn't giving smooth energy, but give him time.
Give him time. Let him lose. Let the smile crack. Let the eyes blink.
Let him, shake it off a little bit.
Shake it off.
Obviously, there's no way that works.
No.
Now, what I am having wild anxious energy about is these next few episodes.
It's gonna get heavy. I love it.
Listen, I know my guy Zack. Okay, I know my guy Zack. My assumption is that Zack is going to try everything he can to win over Irina, and she is going to continue to be so mean to him, and it is going to be so painful to watch as he awkwardly pours out his heart, because it's awkward when the person isn't responding, and I feel like he's going to be more over the top because she's not accepting it. And the idea of them sleeping together alone for the first time is keeping me up at night now, okay?
Well, she's going to be like, can I get an Alaskan king bed so you can sleep on the far end? Like, that's exactly what she's going to be like, don't even touch me.
It's keeping me up at night, and I'm worried for my guy. Yeah. And here's the thing, Zack. I think I love you, Yeah. So far what I've seen.
I wish you the best,
you got me, but here's the thing, my guy. You made the wrong choice.
Yeah. Maybe maybe he'll
You made the wrong choice.
Yeah.
I believe with my heart and soul deeply that Bliss would have seen him and embraced him with love, and that it would have been great. I do believe that. I do believe it. Even if he was a little awkward, I think Bliss is the type of person who sees past that moment and goes, I know that guy who I met behind the wall, and he's going to be great. And that's on you, Zack. You made the wrong choice. It's on you. But I was so mean.
Brutal.
Oh.
Well, I mean, I will say this: this show gives you, as you can tell from how long this episode is already, that like there's so much to talk about, and we will get better. I promise at keeping things concise.
And maybe in order.
But this was our first one, and it's a lit show, and we're very excited. So please watch along with us because we are having a blast.
I think I'm going to have to watch the next few episodes like tonight. I don't think I'm going to be able to resist. Like,
if I'm being honest with you, it's a little bit like, when something smells bad, but you can't stop smelling it? That's what this show is. This show is absolutely hideous, but I love it. It's like oh God, you can't look away from the car wreck. You know what I mean? This show is a car wreck for sure.
And now it's going to be so hard to stop at the next three. But I think what I'm going to have to do is as soon as we end recording, I'm just going to have to binge the next three and then stop quickly, and then we'll record, later.
Agreed.
But oh my God, I'm really loving it.
Yes, me too.
So tune in next Wednesday for the recap, I believe, of 4, 5, and 6. Now, again, there's a chance that we watch.
We might push to 7.
4, 5, and that's plenty. And then we might have to. So we'll keep you updated. Because if there's too much that we got to get through, then we don't want to skip by anything.
And worst case scenario, if you watch 4, 5, and 6, we only cover 4 and 5, then you've seen it anyway, so we're good.
And then you'll know when we're dead wrong about tons of things. But I feel pretty good about my predictions. My prediction is this. Let's predict our couples quick right now. Okay. Irina and Zack absolutely break up.
100%.
I think in Mexico,
they're
probably.
not breaking up. They're not even getting
They're not getting anywhere. I think in Mexico, they're done. Tiffany and Brett, obviously married for the rest of their lives, children, grandchildren, the whole thing. I think that Jackelina and Marshall get to the altar and break up.
Okay.
At the altar.
Okay.
I think the same thing happens with Kwame and Chelsea. Okay. I think they get to the altar and I think they break up at the altar. And I think that Paul and Micah get married. That's my guess. What about you? What about you?
I agree with everything except Paul, Micah, Kwame, and Chelsea. I think that it becomes a situation with Micah and Kwame.
So what do you think happens? Do you
think that Kwame gets in the presence of Micah. He starts to lose it for Chelsea. Micah likes the attention she's getting from Kwame.
Okay.
Uses it as leverage against Paul when Paul and her are having issues. And there becomes this weird moment when Kwame is just at the beck and call of her.
Okay.
She then flirts with him, makes Paul jealous, and it becomes this like problematic triangle. And then Chelsea's just kind of left in the wings, like feeling betrayed.
So do you think they all break up then?
Yes.
Before they get to the altar?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I don't think they make it.
All right, sir. Let's see. We shall see.
Handshake.
We shall see.
It's going to be awesome. Should we do a call home before we move on?
Yes, let's do a call. Let's do a call home. And remember, also next week, Love is Blind, and then Friday, our first every other second episode of the week.
Yes.
I don't know how you say that.
Yes. The second and fourth week of every month is we're doing 2 episodes.
Fridays.
Yes.
Fridays. All right, let's do some call home.
Remember, you can always call home.
Hi, Mom and Dad. Rachel here.
Hi,
this
Rachel.
is a parenthood question. I'm new to motherhood. My daughter is 7 months old, and already I would describe our bond similar to what Evan has described, Jess, your bond with Ember. First of all, my daughter was born on my 30th birthday. So we have that going for us. But I've
awesome.
literally waited my entire life for her. Like, she is my person.
Oh,
I'm gonna get
gosh.
emotional.
I'm going to cry.
But our souls are like so connected. Okay,
Whoa.
question. Just wondering how you guys navigated through this early stage of parenthood, finding time for each other and for yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
My husband and I are sort of just in survival mode, trying to sleep through the night and give her new foods and yada yada, all that fun stuff. So you guys are literally goals. So I have to know how you guys navigated through early stages of parenthood. All right. Love you guys so much.
Love
Bye.
you. Rachel,
Someone's going to be a good mom.
someone's already a great mom.
Yeah,
Holy
seriously.
smokes. Rachel, you're making me cry over here. Wow. Well, like Evan said, first and foremost, you're an amazing parent.
Yeah, get rid of that. Get rid of that
Just-
as a doubt or a problem in your brain. That's done. You're
And
gonna be
know
great.
that your child will so inherently, deeply feel how much you absolutely adore them. So just know that. And any moments where you feel like, oh, I'm making a mistake, like, you're doing an amazing job. Wow. Well, I'll say this. You heard Evan and I at the top of the episode, we were just talking about how we haven't been good about date nights and about, making that time through the chaos. So I appreciate you saying goals. That means a lot. But the truth of the matter is there's a lot that's got to be worked on behind the scenes all the time. One of those things being time together outside of parenting and work in those chaotic moments. I would say the thing that really helped me the most, especially in the early stages where it felt like, how am I going to make time for this? Like, I feel like, honestly, there's not a blip or a moment or a pause in this. First of all, be gracious with yourself and know that if you don't have time to make that happen, that don't beat yourself up about that. Just take it day to day and think, okay, you know what? I'm going to be very intentional today about attempting to make sure that my husband and I, we sit down and have dinner together tonight. Even if it's just for 45 minutes, that we'll do that tonight at home, no screens, have that time together and try to have those little moments here and there. But don't beat yourself up if that doesn't happen, because it is a tough time right now. But the other thing that really helped me process is always remembering that one of the best things you can do for your kid is to provide a happy parent for them. And a happy parent looks like somebody who has who's continuing to have their own interests and their own passions and their own identity and their own relationship with their partner. So I think something that helped me in those moments where all of a sudden I'd be like, do I feel this mom guilt of going on a date night with my husband right now, or going out and seeing my girlfriends instead of spending the time with the kiddo? It's like, listen, it's important for your child to see their parent happy and fulfilled and who they are and their identity, and they'll love you for that. And I think that was something that helped me remember to do that, even in small doses in those moments when I could, and helped sometimes with my guilt that it's like, no, this is good for my parenting for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everything she said, I'm not going to give you, like, my advice would be like more relationally. I think that you guys can navigate that in your own way, but my thing would be minimize stress. So don't try to be everything to everyone, to your child, to everything. It's like, slow it down. You don't have to go to every holiday. You don't have to go to every birthday. You don't have to go, like, slow it all down. If someone gives you pressure, that's on them. You know,
That's good advice.
and also don't try to be the perfect parent, because this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. So, like, don't think that, like, the first 5 months you gotta, like, have every perfect diaper changed and every perfect, you know, mechanism at your house to take care of the baby in the most perfect. It's like, just marathon it, one day at a time. Take your time, minimize stress, slow it all down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you'll be able to kind of get through it without feeling like you're failing if you're not putting all these expectations on yourself. And, like, well, I saw on Instagram that this woman, you know, took her child on a marathon 4 days after they were born. It's like all that stuff. It's just like people have these expectations of what you should be doing, and slow it way down and just, like, day at a time.
And
one thing at a time.
I completely agree with that. And also I think that a lot of people, and I'm guilty of saying this myself because I do think it's true. You know, a lot of people will say, oh my gosh, it goes by so fast, soak up those moments. And sometimes it feels really impossible to soak up those moments because you're like, I'm too stressed, there's too much, I'm too tired, or there's just too much going on for me to even think about soaking up those moments. So I would just say, do what feels like what Evan was saying, like, do what feels right to you in that moment. Like, you're a wonderful person. You're an amazing parent. Trust your intuition and let yourself be led by your intuition of, like, you know what? Today, I'm staying home all day. I'm leaving the house an absolute disaster for the next week. Or I'm feeling like going to this holiday. I'm going to go. Or last minute, I'm not going to go. And not allow that pressure. To let your intuition lead you.
Yeah. You're going to be fine. Trust yourself. I can tell by the love in your voice you're good. But what I would probably think is you're going to struggle with being too perfect mom, and you probably just need to go. There's going to be nights where I want to go out with my girlfriends and just have a drink, and I don't feel guilty about leaving your child or all that stuff. You know, that you can just kind of feel. So take care of yourself. You know, you're clearly going to take care of your baby. So
That's
just
for sure.
Don't forget yourself.
1,000%. Well, we love you.
We love you. We love you all.
We'll see you next week for some more
week.
Love is Blind and our first second episode. Wait and see what we talk about. And let us know what you all want to hear about, who you want to hear from, people for us to interview, all that fun stuff. So
we love you all.
We love you all.
Bye.
Bye.